Okay, I'd like to call the Wolfeboro Select Board meeting for Wednesday, August 20th, 2025 to order. Any reason for non-public, Jim?
Mr. Chairman, we do. RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, lowercase c, reputation, one item, and one item under L, consideration of legal advice.
Thank you. We have consideration of minutes for August 6th. Anybody have any changes?
Mr. Chairman, I do. Starts on page 2, line 71. I'd like the word "not removed," which is the Primax noted that the fishing tournaments are the same. Not should be removed.
Agreed.
Page 6, line 245, should read after 10, non-public Board of Selectmen to discuss Mr. Pinio's Select Board evaluation and draft 2026 goal. It isn't his self-evaluation, it's our evaluation. Page 8, line 372, gold should be golf. And on line 375, at the end, it should be walk. And those are all I have.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
page 1, line 33, the sentence that I made was comments outside of the Select Board forum, data he shared, meaning me, at the July 6th meeting about parking spaces, had attempted to be impeached, not has been impeached, had attempted to be impeached, and the rest of it is fine. Thank you.
Would you like a motion?
I have one more, too. On line 381 to 384, it says, Mr. Thurston met with Steve Randall, Allison Rutley, Mr. Pinio, library drainage, project back parking lot, trees adjacent to the library, property neighbor concerned about squirrels are jumping from the trees and bringing nuts into the house. Should trees be taken down and who pays? And I thought in that discussion there was also more of a discussion of whose property the trees were on.
So you're not questioning the
I'm wondering
pros, you're questioning the subsequent conversation.
Well, I'm wondering if we're missing a part because I thought it was said that the trees are not on the town property, but I can't remember.
The trees are on town property.
They are on town property. Okay, so the trees bringing the nuts into the house are on town property.
The squirrels bring the nuts
Not
from
the
the trees.
trees. The trees don't go into the house.
Trees don't bring it.
The trees don't bring nuts into the house.
All right.
Well, they might, but you
Okay,
never
so-
know.
Right, not very often.
Not in my case. Okay.
Okay,
Would
any
you-
other changes?
Moved. I second.
I'll make a motion to approve the August 6th minutes with corrections.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, public input. We have 3 minutes per resident, 20 minutes total. If anybody wants to talk to us right now? Okay. Next on our agenda is recognition from local representatives of a governor recognition of 3 local Eagle Scouts. John, Kathy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to first thank you as chairman and the board for allowing us to come in and present these awards to these 3 outstanding young men who've achieved the rank of Eagle Scout. These awards are from Governor Kelly A. Ayotte. If I could ask the 3 men to come up, the 3 are Ryan Osgood, Matt Carpenter, and Ryan Lawn. Okay, the first one is for Ryan. Dear Ryan, congratulations on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. With your family, friends, and fellow Scouts, I commend you on this achievement. This award signifies your dedication to the promise you made in the Scout Oath, and I appreciate that only an individual of great character will achieve this rank. New Hampshire is proud to count you among its young leaders, and I'm truly impressed by the thoughtful and impactful work you've done for your community. I heard about your Scout project where you worked with the Kingswood Youth Center to construct a large fire pit and gathering area by replacing an old, rusted pit with a patio fire pit and benches. You created a space that has fostered a great sense of community among those participating in the Center's program. Your project shows initiative, craftsmanship, and commitment to service, skills that will serve you well throughout your life. If you continue to foster the virtues expressed in the Scout Law, I am certain that you will be among the New Hampshire's finest citizens. Best wishes for your continued success. Sincerely, Kelly A. Ayotte, Governor.
It's my honor to celebrate with you once again because I was able to attend your Eagle Scout ceremony, which was quite impressive. The first one I'm reading is Ryan Long. Congratulations on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. With your family, friends, and fellow Scouts, I commend you for this achievement. This award signifies your dedication to the promise you made in the Scout Oath, and I appreciate that only an individual of great character will achieve this rank. New Hampshire is proud to count you among its young leaders, and I am truly impressed by the thoughtful and impactful work you've done for your community. I heard about your Eagle Scout project where you built duck and owl houses, as well as bee hotels to promote wildlife habitats. I also heard you worked in partnership with the Wolfeboro Conservation Commission to identify both the need for these habitats and the land where they were most needed. By carefully placing them in remote areas, you demonstrated resourcefulness, care for the environment, and a deep sense of civic responsibility. The impact of your efforts will be felt across your community for years to come. If you continue to foster the virtues expressed in Scout Law, I am sure that you will be among New Hampshire's finest citizens. Best wishes for your continued success. Sincerely, Kelly A. Ayotte, Governor. And Mac Carpenter. Dear Mac, congratulations on achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. With your family, friends, and fellow Scouts, I commend you for this achievement. This award signifies your dedication to the promise you made in the Scout Oath, and I appreciate that only an individual of great character will achieve this rank. New Hampshire is proud to count you among its young leaders, and I am truly impressed by the thoughtful and impactful work you've done for your community. I heard about your Eagle Scout project where you rehabilitated a deteriorated outpost at Camp Sentinel. Your work created a more welcoming and functional space for campers to enjoy the outdoors, especially by providing shelter in inclement weather. By restoring the outpost, you've improved the camp experience for future generations and demonstrated strong leadership, planning, and construction skills that will serve you well in the years ahead. If you continue to foster the virtues expressed in Scout Law, I am certain that you will be among New Hampshire's finest citizens. Best wishes for your continued success. Sincerely, Kelly A. Ayotte, Governor.
Great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda, we have some temporary event permits. Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025 at 6:30. Issue a temporary event permit to Wolfeboro Parks and Recs Department to host the Fall Festival on September 27th from 11 to 3 at Foss Field Complex. Permit 2025-53. Is there somebody here for that?
Good evening, Bo Betts, Wolfeboro Parks and Recreation. So this permit in front of you is for our annual fall festival that takes place at the Foss Field Pavilion. This event will coincide with the Kingswood Youth Center Chili Cook-Off. This will be, I believe, our third year collaborating with them on this event. This event continues to grow yearly. Last year we saw the most vendors we've ever had at the event and the highest attendance we've had in many years. Working with the Kingswood Youth Center has been great. They offer a great event with the chili cook-off, and they bring in a ton of local people, local restaurants, and they run a great event, so it's been great working with them. We will have live music, a bunch of different vendors. We'll all be offering concessions through our window, and then just working along with the Kingswood Youth Center on making the event great.
Anybody have any questions? Brian?
Just for our benefit and the benefit of the community, will we have a map that will show the locations of everything at the area? I mean, I don't know if you sent a later version of the map, but all I have is this.
So the map that you have here, it's on the grass area to the bottom of the page where we have all of our vendors set up. The Kingswood Youth Center operates their event underneath the pavilion. Their tables are set up around the outside so people can walk around, try the different chilies, and then we have vendors set up around the perimeter of the event.
Will you have something online? Like
Yes.
A map that will show all these locations?
I'm working on putting together a vendor map and a more detailed map for the event that we'd like to share with the community as we get closer to the event itself.
Okay.
Along with, there are other events happening in town that day, so we would like to have maybe a map of everything that's going on in town so people
I don't
have
know
that information.
I'm not sure about the other board members, but if you could supply me with that, I think it would be interesting.
Okay,
Thanks.
definitely.
Mr. Chairman,
Linda?
go ahead.
He pulled it.
No, you go first.
No, you asked.
No.
You
Okay.
asked first.
So you say you have 200 spectators. Is that, you said it's growth over last year. Do you expect more than that?
That's a very rough estimate based off of last year's numbers. We saw upwards probably over 300 people attending the event.
And the request by my colleague for a map, that is something you had contemplated doing, or is that incremental work for you?
I mean, I put together a vendor map as I get closer
You
to
do?
the event.
Okay,
Once
good.
I have finalized the vendors that will be attending the event, I believe last year when I submitted this this permit, the map that I provided was a little different than the one that you have in front of you.
Right.
I kind of drew an area of where
'Cause I
everything
think
was
what's
gonna be
being
set up.
asked makes a whole bunch of sense. I mean, if we can get it in front of people on different places, it's going to incentivize people to make the number 200 go bigger for you,
Yep.
which is always good, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, super. Thank you.
Yeah, this is for Jim. When we sent out the permit for the fishing tournament in Back Bay, did we ask them to park their trailer or give them a direction in terms of where they need to park? Because that's going to be in the same parking lot.
Right.
So I saw that, and I just was wondering whether we don't need to do some communication.
I've got to look into it.
You'll,
Yep, I've got to look into it. And if we have not, we will ask them to do that.
okay, thank you.
Well, that's a good point. I mean, this past weekend's a good example. We clogged up the town a lot. We just got to be careful of that. Okay, thanks.
There's probably a very good chance that last year there was a fishing tournament going on at the same time, and we didn't even know.
But we
knows,
do,
right?
and
We do
we,
now,
and we
so we should
talked
take
about trying to, if we say we want to do
Yeah.
something, we better do it.
Correct.
The say and the do have to work. Good.
Okay, any other questions for
Thanks,
Bo? Any questions from the audience?
You need a motion, Dave?
Okay. Somebody like to make a motion?
I can find my,
I'll move to issue a temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Park and Recreation Department to hold the Fall Festival on September 27th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Foss Field Complex, permit 2025-53.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Next one is the Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, 6:30 PM to approve a temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Parks and Recreation to host the Turkey Trot 5K at Railroad Station in Depot Street, November 22nd, 2025, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Permit 2025-54.
Back again.
This is our 33rd annual Turkey Trot. This event takes place every year, the Saturday before Thanksgiving. It is co-hosted alongside the Wolfeboro Lions Club, another great event that we work with them on. They're great to work with. We love supporting them as they enjoy supporting our department. I believe you were provided with a race map. All the permits and police details have been submitted for this event. It's a great event, like I said. This year, along other years, we've collected non-perishable food items, canned goods that will later go on and get donated to the food pantry.
Any questions? The only one I had was how many years, but he answered that.
Yes,
Quite a few.
yes, very definitely.
Hey, I'll entertain a motion.
We'll move to approve the temporary event permit for the Wolfeboro Parks and Recreation to host the Turkey Trot 5K at the Railroad Station in Depot Street on November 22nd, 2025, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Permit 2025-54.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, Bo.
Okay, next, the Wolfeboro Select Board will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, 6:30 p.m. to approve a temporary event permit for the Energy Committee to host a Drive Electric event on September 27th, 2025, parking spaces at Foss Field, Sioux Glen Playground, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., permit 2025-55. Somebody here for that? Here we go.
Good evening. This is John Hewitt from the Wolfeboro Energy Committee. And as stated, the Energy Committee would like to host a Drive Electric educational event. This event was held last year as well, so this would be the second year of having this event. I believe the event was very well received last year and worth doing again this year. The event would just consist of volunteer owners of electric vehicles from Wolfeboro and surrounding towns who would be available with their vehicles to show them to any spectators who are interested, as well as answer questions about what it is like owning and driving an electric vehicle. And again, yeah, it would be at Foss Field, 10 to 2 on September 27th. And aiming for approximately 12 vehicles, which is what we had last year. Right there next to the playground was where we had it last year. Thank you.
Any questions from the board?
I have a question, Mr. Chair. Oh, go ahead, Linda. You raise your hand.
Nope, you go first.
So I read in the staff comments from Parks and Rec, not enough parking as this is not part of the fall festival. No conversations have been had. So did the Energy Committee and Parks and Rec talk about the fact that this fall festival and this thing's happening on the same day?
Last year, we held it in conjunction or same time as the fall festival as well. And they're the ones who blocked the spots off for us last year. I didn't talk to them last year either.
So I'm just wondering why this year there's a comment, not enough parking. Is that okay if Bo comes up?
So yes, this event did happen when we had our fall festival last year. I preface this with, we love to collaborate with different groups in town. When Christine got the permit to approve, it was the first time we were hearing of the event. We just had some concerns. Not that we're against the event, but the parking lot, as you know, is very busy down there. As our event continues to grow, parking continues to become an issue. And I believe that day there is an event also in the Back Bay area. We have a ton of pickleball players, tennis players who will be using those courts that day. And I'm expecting up to 30 vendors where I also need somewhere for them to park as well. So we do just have some concerns about parking. We are happy to work with people. we're happy to market any of these events as well. Christine and I did discuss that maybe a location of this event could be in the municipal lot here at Town Hall, and we would provide a map, like Brian had discussed, just to show everybody in the community where these events are happening. But ultimately, it just comes back to the parking lot and the parking for the event itself. We have a lot of people that come down there, and we just have our concerns with it being a busy lot, and a lot of patrons walking around that lot is just a concern of ours.
So the concern that, at least the concern I have, is I don't have the benefit of a map seeing where the food trucks are going to be and all the other stuff you got, but I do have the benefit of the map showing where the proposed parking is for the electric vehicle. Is that in conflict?
Our event does not happen in the parking lot. Everything takes place on the grassy area and by the basketball courts.
Okay, thank you.
Linda?
Yeah, I was down there for the Fall Festival last year, and I saw all the people who went around and looked at those electric cars. And one of the goals of the master plan was to look at finding alternative energy. And I support the Energy Committee trying to put this on. We just did Winnipesaukee Day, and we had way, way more people, and they were able to find parking spaces to get there.
Yeah.
So I'm in support. The conflict was that fishing tournament, which I've already see if we can get them to put their trailers somewhere else. So I'm in support of it. I think it's a great event.
Any other comments?
Now, I'm in support of people talking to each other before we get this thing going. That's what I'm in support of.
Bobby Budman. I was at the festival last year. A lot of people showed up for the festival and participated in the chili off and everything due to the fact that this function was there. I know that in town we have issues where employees will take some of the closest spaces. Maybe this is an opportunity where we say some of the vendors who were there drop their stuff off and move their stuff around to on the other side of the tennis courts. But this was a very crucial function for our town to highlight, especially considering we did invest in putting in the charging stations downtown, but also around the country a week later, when's it's the 27th, a week earlier, on the 20th, on the equinox, is a big festival called Sun, SUN-DAY. And this almost really correlates with what's going to happen all over the country, highlighting what we can do as we move forward. So I just wanted to give my input that this was a great event last year in that parking lot. Thank you.
Any other comments? Somebody like to make a motion?
Move to issue a temporary event permit for the Energy Committee to host Drive Electric event on September 27, 2025 in the parking spaces at Foss Field, Sioux Glen Playground from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., permit number 202555.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next we have the Wolfeboro Select Board to hold a public hearing on Wednesday, August 20th, 2025, 6:30, issue a temporary event permit to Brian Dexter for a fishing tournament on Back Bay using the launch September 13th, 2025 from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., permit number 2025-56. Anybody here to speak to this? Okay, board? I know, Linda, you made a comment already, so.
I think that we also need to talk to them about the fact that there's going to be level up pickleball camp. I think, again, it's a parking. We just need to inform them and see how we're going to deal with that.
The only thing I wanted to mention is, if anybody read the email to Amy, it says, thank you for calling me back this morning. As discussed, attaches our request to use the Back Bay town launch on 9/13. We greatly appreciate the opportunity, and we do not want this to go unnoticed or taken for granted. We are New Hampshire residents and value the town's decision to allow us to respectfully use your facility, especially when so many restrictions that have come about in recent years in New Hampshire. So there are, and this points back to where Wolfeboro doesn't allow weekends, holidays, and other things. So Wolfeboro is being very accommodating to the fishing community.
Okay, any more comments? Somebody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to issue a temporary event permit to Brian Dempster for a fishing tournament on Back Bay using the launch on September 13th, 2025, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., permit 2025-56.
Second.
Hey, all those in favor? Aye. Okay, now we're on to ordinance changes. Wolfeboro Board of Selectmen will hold the first of two public hearings on Wednesday, August 20th at 6:30 at the Great Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, regarding amendments to the Town of Wolfeboro Ordinance, Chapter 140, Article 3, Sidewalk Obstructions. Does anybody have any comments? Somebody want to make, does anybody want to speak to this? To the,
Come on up to the microphone. Come on, get up there. Get up there. Go on up there.
What I understood was that there's an ordinance change that you're proposing that you'd like the public to comment on. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of it so we could read it? Thank you.
To me, the main change was that we changed the width of the sidewalk, and so we now, that is needed to be a free space, so it is called minimum standard walking space of 50 inches, and that was to address tables and signs that were creeping into the sidewalk so people can walk. We also talked about hanging objects, and in there it's 8 feet. I think that's also a change. And we made a change in terms of A-frame signs. For a while we tried to define it, and then we decided that it was better for us to reference the already signed ordinance 175-44GI that the planning board put forward. So if there's a change, the two will be the same.
And I refer to Jim on this one. The height was also, did that also come from our planning ordinance for signs, Jim? The height distance from the ground?
I believe the height distance came from the ADA.
ADA requirement.
Excuse me, the building code, rather.
Building code, okay.
The building code?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
So on 140-14, it says a property or business owner must maintain the town's minimum standard walking width of 50 inches of sidewalk from the street edge. What if the business owns the sidewalk? Because I know that we talked about one particular business down there that has some tables out, and we say, well, they own that property, so, but I know that there's another business that owns some property, and they have some stuff out there too. So what are we going to do there?
To me, we're talking about the town sidewalk. We're not talking about
talking
their
about
personal
private
sidewalks. We
areas.
don't regulate private property. We're talking about the town sidewalk.
Just thought I'd clarify that.
Yep. This is town property only.
Do we, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Paul.
And thanks for Linda and Brian for helping us understand this. Have we notified any abutter who is prospectively not in conformance with this proposed ordinance? Or should we? Maybe that's the right question. Shouldn't we do that? Shouldn't we kind of like knock, knock, knock? Hey, we're about to change the distance. You are going to be prospectively non-conforming. Should we do that?
Well, they shouldn't have anything on our sidewalk. That's town property. It's just, you know. And this is not the first time it came.
So the answer is no.
No, yes. It came to the public, I think it was in 2024 in the fall, and at that point, we had a permit to put stuff on the sidewalk. And the response from the people who came was they didn't want to have to fill out another application. They didn't want to do a fee. So the committee went back and worked on it again. We gave it to the board, I think, a meeting or two ago to look at, and we made, at that time, we made a change in the wording so we were consistent to minimum standard walking space of 50 inches. And so that's what's in front of us today.
And are we going to describe how this will be enforced? Are we going to expect the police department to go down and write tickets, or are we going to have a neighbor talk about their neighbor?
I think it's
How
in
will
the
this be enforced?
It's right here, 140-.
Read it to the public.
You read it. You wanted to know where it was. Go ahead.
Well, you pointed it out.
140-20.
Yeah.
It reads, "The code enforcement officer shall be responsible for enforcement and shall be responsible for issuing a fine for noncompliance. B, the police department code enforcement officer, the town manager, or town manager designee may enforce compliance and can also issue fines for noncompliance."
So to follow on my question, are we going to expect a report from the police department, the code enforcement officer, on a weekly, monthly, daily, quarterly, semi-annually basis as to how many times someone has put an A-frame sign somewhere where they shouldn't? I'm just trying to, I'm not trying to be persnickety here. I'm just trying to figure out whether we are, whether there's a different way to go at this.
Well, I do know that the chair of this committee, who's a business owner in town, extensively searched communities in the state of New Hampshire, some that are local to us and some further away like Concord, and some larger communities, and most of this was pulled from other ordinances and modified to fit Wolfeboro as a community. So these code enforcement penalties and the way they are enforced is on par with what is happening in the state of New Hampshire.
One of the comments I'll make, the real problem was tables and chairs in the way. And since we've been working on it, I've got to say the business community has done a very good job keeping those tables and chairs back, even though they'll be out of place sometime. But I think they understood. And the A-frame sign, which we're referencing from the plan, is already there. Those signs, A-frame signs are there. We, I think, have in this a little better enforcement and a clearer enforcement.
And I think this will also help new businesses opening and taking over space. There won't be a question for them, what can I do, how do I do it? It's now clear. I just have to leave the sidewalk open 50 inches. And by the way, I personally went down and measured every single sidewalk in town to make sure that 50 inches was reasonable.
So, and we're going to have a second public hearing on this.
Right.
So I want to park a question that just says, is there a better way to do this? And Brian, thank you. Brian has said, you know, we've combed through other regulations and fines and things of that nature, and I'm again, being persnickety. Is there a way to say to the business community, I just park this rhetorically, hey, you got to go 50 inches, you've improved, it looks a lot better than it was a year or so ago, please keep it up. If not, we got this bad piece of paper that we could pass. I just ask that we think it differently about it. That's all. I'll shut up now. Thank you.
I would like it, Paul, if you would do some investigation and bring back some thoughtful solutions at the next public hearing.
I just offered one.
I guess, we've spent almost a year and a half on this.
Yeah.
I think at some point, we enact it, and then if at some point there's a better way and we want to do away with it, that's fine. But I think it made it clear there was and Brian's right, we had somebody new who came to town, and he didn't know what to do.
Okay, 50 inches.
Okay, any other comments?
Yeah, I do. So again, I read the document over. There's nowhere in the document where it says on town property. 140-2, the end of it says within the town. That's the last part of the sentence. Should it say within the town on town property?
We don't regulate private property.
I know, but there's,
Thank God.
but basically the connotation is it could be any sidewalk. If you don't clarify on town property, it could be any sidewalk.
Okay. Any other comments? Yes.
Kathy Fairman, 60 North Main Street. Just a question as I was reading this over to clarify. Does this preclude that there will be no A-frame signs unless they allow the 15 inches? So you can have an A-frame sign as long as there's 50 inches between the A-frame sign and the end of the sidewalk. And is that realistic in town? Do most of our sidewalks allow enough room for that?
Yes.
No, there's some that do not.
Yeah, some that don't, but
But if you put the
many do.
A-frame sign on a side, like I'll do the one that you're going into, I don't know whether it's by the dockside, coming out from dockside, the sidewalk by marker 21. There is not enough room for A-frame, even if we did 20 inches. And it blocks the sidewalk. That's what we're trying to do. And one of the things we got from our survey is the public who answered wanted to use the sidewalk.
Yeah, right. And sidewalk for wheelchairs and people with walkers and things like that. We need to be able to provide for that. So, okay, that answered my question. Thank you.
I witnessed an A-frame being knocked by someone trying to squeeze down a sidewalk right into the side of a brand-new vehicle. And the person picked up the sign and looked, and they were like, and they kept on walking. But there was probably a scratch or two on the side of the car. So there is a reason. And I have two elderly parents. They're in their late 80s. And because of balance issues and other things, they need to support each other when they walk, and they are all of 50 inches wide, the two of them, as they walk. A person pushing a stroller with a child and holding the hand of another little child is 50 inches wide. This is where we got these numbers from. And because would you really want to have to send your toddler in front of you in a stroller or behind you in a stroller? No, you want the toddler to be safe with you as you're walking down sidewalks.
Bobby Budman again. I was on the ad hoc committee at the beginning, and then unfortunately, due to work, wasn't able to stay on the committee. However, I do appreciate the fact that you have decided on upping this to the 50 inches to accommodate for our aging community, for our wheelchairs, for our walkers, for the things that Kathy just stated. So I think that this is a really good compromise based on where we were, a year and a half ago with this, almost 2 years ago now, fighting and dickering over the language. I think this is probably the easiest language that I've seen come forward from the ad hoc committee, so thank you.
Okay, so we can go on, Jim, and schedule a second hearing. Okay.
So Jim just pointed out 140-16, a business can only place objects on town-owned sidewalks from April 1st to December 15th.
Okay. All right, next on our agenda is public comment.
Oh, I read the.
The Select Board will hold a public comment on August 20th, 2025 at their meeting begins at 6:30 at the Great Hall, 84 South Main Street, Wolfeboro, New Hampshire, to take public comment on parking spaces and crosswalks in downtown Wolfeboro. So, we're open for comments. Linda?
I just want to say that the notice that we got was a notice and it was a public hearing, not just public comments. The piece of paper that was in there, which was put into.
I didn't hear that,
posted.
Linda, I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
I said the notice that we were given in our packet talks about it being a public hearing, not just public comment. Just clarifying that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Hi, good evening. Lenore Clark. Most of you know me as Conservation Commission Chair, but I'm just here on behalf of myself and my husband tonight. I am a full-time resident of 22 years who currently drives through downtown multiple times a day. I live off of Forest Road and have 2 teenagers going through the school system here, one of whom currently volunteers at New Durham 3 to 5 days a week and is not self-driving yet, so you get the picture. And in fact, as soon as I finish reading this, I'm scooting off because I just got a text that she's ready to be picked up. I am in favor of leaving the blocked off spots besides the crosswalk. My husband and I have learned a long time ago that you have to practically come to a stop before each one, unless a previously obstructed pedestrian practically jumps out in front of you. It's safer now and, dare I say, less anxiety-inducing to drive through downtown. I think we could even go a step further. Even now with the newly blocked off space that's in front of the pet supply store, which is right at the top of the Cape Park ramp, you still can't adequately see someone stepping out if you're coming from the north. I would even be in favor of turning that first parking spot there into a smaller motorcycle-only spot. Both my son and his girlfriend, my de facto daughter-in-law, work at downtown establishments, which means I have parked downtown on several occasions this summer to spend my money in cafes and restaurants where they work. I have not once not been able to find a parking spot along Main Street. I agree with Mr. O'Brien's grab sample windshield survey. And although there are, of course, busier times when I've had to park at the old train station or maybe even Foss Field, I have literally not been able to go spend money at my intended target or do my banking at Citizens or go to the post office because of a lack of parking. I'm saying this as a fellow small business owner who, granted, has an office outside of downtown with its own parking. But living where we live, our business would not be able to sustain itself if money wasn't flowing through town. We ultimately depend on the tourism economy like everyone else. And although I definitely understand the argument for releasing the blocked off spaces on the far side in each direction, and I would not be against adding those back, but I do think a happy accident of this experiment has been that, although probably not to the letter legal, the delivery trucks now use those blocked off spaces and crosswalks to pull over when making deliveries. Granted, this defeats the purpose by making pedestrians have to step out in front of them, but you know how we're always complaining about traffic downtown in the summer? Giving them those spaces has gotten rid of the problem of the double parked trucks that us drivers have to negotiate around. And they didn't block the view of pedestrians any less when they were double parked. So at least part of that problem has now been alleviated. Please keep the parking spots adjacent, the former parking spots adjacent to the crosswalks blocked off. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Kathy Fairman, 60 North Main Street, also a small business owner of the Wolfeboro Trolley Company. I want to thank you for revisiting this after the rather, I think, quick decision to move forward with making a major change just before the summer season came upon us. And I think that it behooves us to take the time in the future, because we literally painted these in place, and it's not something like you can go out and move it like a sign or something like that. So I think that having the public hearing, getting comment is a great idea. Thank you. And I think that the realization that there were some that were blocked off that didn't make any sense at all is you're looking at that here. So obviously the direction you're coming into them, I think everybody understands, I hope everybody understands the reason why you're looking at putting some of these back. And I think it's really necessary that you do that, and do that in a very careful way. I have two comments to make. One is that the way the crosswalks and the parking spaces, but particularly the crosswalks were painted this year, is an embarrassment to this town and to me. I don't know, I know that there are standards, I don't know what they are of what a crosswalk should be, but I know that they should have 2 lines going this way, and whether you have the lines going this way on a diagonal or going this way, I know there are standards in the state of New Hampshire. I'm sure it could tell us what they are, but ours certainly do not meet those. They're a hodgepodge all over down the street. The one in front of 60 North Main Street, the property that I have, I went out and measured those. First of all, the crosswalk goes like this. It doesn't even go across. And some of those lines going across are 15.5 feet long. And I measured a couple others on the street, and they are from 5.5 feet. So they're 3 times the length of what looks to be a standard. So I don't know how that happened, but I don't think that was somebody who was experienced or was familiar with what standards are for a crosswalk. And I do hope that next year, hopefully we'll scrape them all off this winter like we usually do, that we can maybe get them planed in the way that will be consistent and look professional. The one other thing that I'd bring to attention, and I've mentioned it over the years, and has been brought to my attention, there is, and I noticed when we did this, I think we added a couple of handicap parking spaces. Did that happen?
We did. I think we did.
Yeah, I believe we did. So, 1, there is not, unless it happened in this, and I didn't see it, there is no handicap parking space above the bridge. The only one there is down next to on Mill Street, where it's big enough so a wheelchair can, but there is no place north of the bridge. That's a long way for all those businesses, that anyone who is, and I know that right on Main Street, it's difficult to have one that's big enough for a wheelchair to drop, but there are a lot of people who aren't in wheelchairs who need a handicap. You maybe have crutches because you've got a broken leg. You may be carrying oxygen. You may have a walker. You don't need to unload at a handicap, a wheelchair lift type spot. But you go out and look, and it's been pointed. I looked for it and I couldn't believe it. But we had someone who is a frequent patron of one of those restaurants up there for years. So, and I would allow them, if at all possible, to park in the parking lot at 60 North Main Street so they could access those, because there's nothing there. So if you're going back and looking at this, take a look at maybe getting at least 1 handicap parking space, and maybe another one up there if you're looking at the parking spaces. Those are my thoughts. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, Hunter Emery. I spoke before about this and the impact on the businesses. I know that we heard earlier that somebody else believed that the businesses were not impacted at all. I had plenty of customers coming in on a regular basis saying, wow, I could not find any parking. They parked way away, or they did not come in that day. They came in the next day and said, wow, I would have come in yesterday, but I could not find parking. I'm not against the spot being taken away in front of the crosswalk, like on the oncoming traffic side, because yes, you can see better. But after the crosswalk doesn't need to be there. And I know that they said that the delivery trucks park there, and they do. I have about 80 pictures of trucks parked across there, and they do block anybody from crossing the street on the crosswalk, as well as blocking visibility for people stepping out. Not in a crosswalk anymore because they had to walk around the back of the truck or the front of the truck. I just said before that parking does matter, and it's funny that we started out this day talking about the lack of parking in the back of the bay during different events. Well, if there's not enough parking back there during events, then there's probably not enough parking in town to begin with, and I know that we had talked about maybe finding more parking somewhere at some point, which is obviously a long way off, but we could fairly quickly give back at least 6 spots in town by taking by giving those back after the crosswalks. Thank you.
Thanks, Hunter.
Hi there, thank you. I'm Amy. I'm mostly here because my friend Sophia dared me to come talk about things that I'm not going to talk about. But parking, I have to say, when I first saw the sort of abrupt removal of, what was it, 12 spots, I thought it was a really unfair negative impact on the businesses on Main Street. I'm not just talking about Yum Yum Shop, even though that is one of my favorites. I do think it was kind of an unfair negative impact on the businesses on Main Street. But I will say, I walk Main Street a lot, and once those parking spaces were removed, it had a really open, lovely, airy feeling. And I thought, why don't we just remove all the parking and become pedestrian, like Church Street in Burlington, 3rd Street Promenade in Santa Monica, Lincoln Road in Miami, 6th Street in Denver, 16th Street in Denver. It'd be beautiful, right? Very hallmarky, right? I think anything that's more hallmarky is pretty good for Wolfeboro. I don't think that's likely to happen. So I do think maybe returning some of those spots would be great, but maybe we could do it in a kind of a fun hallmarky way so that it's fun for the whole community. Wouldn't be that hard. It'd be pretty fun. And while we're on the topic of Main Street, I just want to drop this. Next time we dig it up, if we can bury the power lines. This is something that the whole community has wanted for a very long time. I've heard all the reasons why it can't happen, but other towns have done it, so it definitely can happen, and we can do it. I know we can. You know Gunnar Found, you know that picture he put up of what our town would look like without those power lines on Main Street? Beautiful, very hallmarky, right? Yeah, so that's it. I want to thank you for your time, and we live in a great community.
Any other comments?
Hi, Libby Shannon, Wolfeboro citizen. I was part of the original pro crosswalk crew, and I know you're all taking a lot of heat for it. I am very proud of you that you acted in a human manner and not in a robotic, what are the legalities of this manner. So you did take more than I asked for, but you did more than I hoped for. I have a disability, and if you looked at me, you probably wouldn't tell. Many of you know me from around town, giving out Halloween candy or over at the museum. I have a lot of visual problems, and I also have a rare neuromuscular disease. I don't like to tell people my medical business, but I am a patient advocate, and we cannot make the assumption that a person who enters the crosswalk can all get out at the same speed as someone else. You just can't humanly do that. There are days when maybe I could run for my life and maybe I couldn't. I'm taking some mental notes while I'm listening, and I heard that you spent 1.5 years measuring some problems on some sidewalks, some obstacles, and that you measured them down to the inch, and you talked about that for 1.5 years. You're worried about toddlers in strollers on sidewalks jutting out in front of people who are walking. Myself as a parent, and from what I've ever seen, I've never seen anyone ever pull a stroller across the street backwards. Probably less people take their children out, carry them, and push the stroller. I have only seen strollers going first into traffic. So I'm going to contend maybe you should worry more about the street and cars than you should about people tripping on sidewalks. Not that that's not important, but What else? I appreciate Linda's hard work and Brian's on winning day. I went, it was amazing. I found a spot to unload my stuff. And just food for thought, you did say that there were so many people there and they all found somewhere to park. So, where does that sit? If they can find somewhere to go for a giant event, people from out of town, it was dark, it was mobbed, and they all found somewhere to park. So why they can't find somewhere to park in a beautiful day, I'm at a loss for an answer for that. And let's see what else. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't understand what would happen, but is there an increased liability if you take away a spot that you've already added? So just what would happen? How would you explain that? What is the legality of that? Maybe people think you made a rash decision, but you made a decision and there it stands. And there has been public input a few times since then, and you have to make a decision. You have to take them or leave them. And as a taxpayer, I'm worried about what would happen if you take away something that you've put there that increased safety. Again, I think you did a really great job. I do notice that someone asked for a handicap spot to be added up on North Main Street. And I'm also going to say, as a person with a handicap, I worry more about crossing the street than I do about finding somewhere to park, because I can find all the parking spots I want, but if I get hit by a car, I don't really care where I was going to shop. So thank you. I think you guys do a great job. I appreciate you listening to me, and I am proud of you that you made that decision. So thank you.
Any other comments?
Good evening. My name is Rick Eaton, and one of the things I was going to discuss this evening was the parking spots that you're considering putting back, which I think is a great idea. By having the double parking spots, I've noticed this summer driving through town that it just really opens up an opportunity for people to pull in, and I guess they think if they put their flashers on, they're exempt from being able to park. They can go ahead and park there. So I think that'll help minimize the amount of people that do pull in and park there because they don't think they have to follow the laws. And another thought was, I've noticed that when they do park in those spots are as long as a car. Would it be possible to shrink those down to, say, half the size or 2/3 the size so that a car really wouldn't fit in there, which might as well discourage them from pulling in there? So just a couple thoughts. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Yep.
Good idea.
Anybody else?
Nate Nichols, just going to put on a different hat quickly. I live on North Main Street. I got 3 kids in the school system. I drive through town numerous times a day, similar to what Lenore was talking about. My daughter works at the Yum Yum shop. She's been there now. She's just wrapping up her 3rd summer. She has noticed and been much more comfortable leaving Yum Yum across the street to go get lunch, usually a BLT from Hunter, which she absolutely loves. And she just feels safer downtown. And I can tell you, anecdotally, coming through town in my pickup truck, not quite as profound as Paul's survey, but I can't remember a time when I haven't seen 1 or 2 open spots all summer. So I think we might have a perceived parking problem, what I would call a convenience parking problem as opposed to a parking problem. As a deputy fire chief riding through town in the fire engine, also getting feedback from my guys, they truly appreciate the added sight lines that these blocked off spaces have provided. It really helps them with their navigation through downtown, which on a busy day in the summer is stressful enough. So just my 2 cents. Thanks.
Thank you.
I think we can attribute the availability of parking spots downtown this summer to the fact that the Wolfeboro Police Department has been enforcing the 2-hour parking limit and the no parking zone limit. And that has made a difference.
Sure.
Kudos to them for doing that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Sure. Comes to Bob's.
Bobby Budman, just want to add that traffic definitely moved faster through town this summer with the fact that people had a better sight line. Because normally we have to stop as we go to be protective of, oh, is someone there, someone there. The other thing that I want to add as we move forward to redoing Main Street and getting our bike lanes in, as someone who bikes through town, I have noticed it's even easier for me coming up on those sidewalks that I don't have to stop at every single sidewalk on my bike, which makes it harder with the cars in town. So biking has even improved through town. Thanks.
Anybody else? Selectman?
Yeah, I have a couple comments. First of all, the handicap parking space north of the bridge, we had one, but it did not meet ADA regulations.
It's uphill, right?
Because it's on the street and you had a curb. So we'll have to really work. It's not an easy place because it's parallel, and I think you have to have a place for a wheelchair. So that will be a work in progress to do that. I have 2 parking spaces that I think that we have the line of sight without taking the spot after the crosswalk. And the first one is in front of the post office. And I checked with the water department and the fire department that if we turn the hydrant so that it can be accessed on Glendon Street, we could put that 15-minute parking back. And the reason I say that is you're coming down a hill. Of all the crosswalks in any direction, I have total visibility because you've got the angle. I can see all the way down. So, and I look at that one, that's a heavily used parking space all year long. So I would like to see if we could put that back. The one other one is a similar situation, is the one in front of the tea shop, because you have Black's Paper Store, then you have the big distance of the driveway coming out of Bradley's in the back, and you have very good visibility there. Those are 2 that I think the visibility is there. One that I would not take away is up by Nolan's coming across. I find that crosswalk, even with the changes, the worst crosswalk because you're coming around a curve and you're just getting in to see the site. So I find that that one is, I have found I like both sides because it gives me some visibility. So those other were the 2 that I felt that we could give back and still have the visibility that we need. And to me, that's just a little common sense.
So
Ryan?
I know that Paul has done some counting of how many available parking spots are open in town. I've done the same thing, and unusually we have a lot different results. So it might be just what it is. I agree people are driving faster through downtown because they can see better. I don't know if that's safe or not safe. I do know that I actually was talking to a couple of the officers when they were chalking tires and ticketing, and I do believe that that is a reason why we may have people not parking there for long periods of time, so spots are opening up quicker. I do agree that I would love to see all downtown be walkable, but until we have the resources of a city and want to increase the tax burden on the taxpayers significantly, it's going to cost a lot to build substantial parking, which would mean parking garages, and that's not a word you say in Wolfeboro, or a phrase you say in Wolfeboro, in order to have the open spots in downtown. I talked to a driver who is a truck driver who delivered for many, many, many years, and he said that when they double parked, they almost made it a point to not block a crosswalk because they already kind of felt like they were in the way, and they didn't want to be in the way of not only cars but people. But now with the open spots on both sides of the crosswalks, a lot of the drivers think it's safer to be off the road instead of double parked, but they are now making it less safe. It's just unintended consequences for people to cross the sidewalks at that time. I will say that Lake Winnipesaukee Day, there was plenty of parking. It was nighttime. All the businesses were closed. So if the businesses are closed, there's going to be more places to park. I like the idea of shortening the spots slightly, so maybe only a Mini Cooper can fit in, but not an SUV. That might help the parking. That was a great idea. I love taking great ideas from the community. I have a note here from a gentleman. He sent it to me. His name is William Trevor. He said I could use his name. I can't make this meeting Wednesday, but would appreciate your considering my comments. Paul is right. Safety is paramount, but it is not absolute, or we would have no parking spaces. The dual bordering safety zones allow trucks to park, taking up both safety zones and the crosswalk. As early as this morning, yet again, I've seen this. People have to go north or south of the crosswalks 15 to 20 feet and still then have to try to see around a large truck, often with a loading ramp out. It is far more dangerous for pedestrians to be forced out of the crosswalk, especially with children, plural, even with mom holding hands. Of course, the alternative is that the truck parks in the street, but they take care not to block the crosswalks. We can't stop loading in the streets, but we can stop loading in the crosswalks and safety zones by removing the safety zones immediately to the right when entering the crosswalk. So he's saying the after the crosswalk parking. People look left anyways, and this is much easier and safer to next look to the right than to try to get around a truck and a loading ramp 15 to 20 feet out of the blocked crosswalk. I have also had at least 3 or 4 citizens send me multiple pictures of the crosswalks being blocked by trucks, and I actually have seen limousines parked in front of the Yum Yum shop blocking the crosswalk and the no parking zone while they go into the Yum Yum shop to get their snacks. I agree with Linda's 2 spots, and I think I would be up to also doing 2 or 3 others in the downtown, the after spots, the spots that fall after the crosswalk on the traveling side. So that's where I am on this at this point. And by the way, I'm here because the community came out to me in force a lot and asked for me to speak on their behalf.
Paul, you got any?
John, do you have any?
No, go ahead.
Okay. I appreciate the comments, and I appreciate the way we're dealing with this. It is, I think it was Kathy or somebody said, it's not a fun thing to do, but that's why you elected us, right? I want to respond to a couple of things, and I can only respond myself. There's an assertion that we made a quick decision. 11 years ago, I started serving in town, more than that, but I started serving in town government at the planning board 11 years ago, and this crosswalks in the downtown area are a topic of conversation. And members of this board were a party to that. And I remember vividly the prior highway department person telling us that we needed to do something about it, and the issue was, let's just wait until we dig up the street and then we'll paint it at the same time. I've studied the question personally for 11 years, so I did not make a quick decision. I made what I thought was an informed decision. And my my friend and neighbor, Mr. Trevor, put his finger on it. Safety is paramount. That, by definition, means there's nothing subordinated to it. The delivery truck problem is a business problem. Hey, business people, what do you want to do? You want to have the cops ticket them? Would you like to have us say you can only deliver the purveyors can only show up at 5 a.m. in the morning? Well, what do we do about that? They were there before we opened up the 20 on either side. They were just double parking, and people were playing Dodge cars. So I'm having personally, not to be argumentative, but I'm having a difficult time saying that because we made this decision unanimously to do the 20 feet, we created this monster. It was just out in the street, and we just moved it into the sidewalk. God bless someone who has a limousine. That means they must be of high capacity, which means they're spending money in our town. That's a comment on that. Thank you for the comment about the handicap parking. That would be good to do. The hallmarky thing is something that is exactly what we talked about in the master plan, and on occasion we remind ourselves, we wrote one of those, we're supposed to make downtown Wolfeboro safe and walkable. You'll never get North Main Street to be safe and walkable. It's an artery. It's like the Southeast Expressway. It's an artery. But Railroad Avenue could be safe and walkable. Yes, I did do some data, and Brian, I'll share this with you. You can share with me your stuff too, and I'd like to pass it down. And there's some for all of you here. I randomly, and I say randomly, on my morning and afternoon search for coffee, muffins, a nut or a bolt, a can of paint or something, I come downtown, and in the past 3 months, I have made 93 visits into the downtown area. Random times during the day, random days during the week. There is a spreadsheet that I have put together that gives you the day of the week, the time of the day, and then the number of vacant spots that are available in the thoroughfare. The thoroughfare being from Union Street to Mill Street, not including the post office, not including any handicap spaces. 93 observations, random. In the month of June, I conducted 23. On average, 11 parking spaces were available. It ranged anywhere from 21 available to 1 available, and at no time in the time that I went down in the month of June were there no spaces available. In the month of July, I conducted 45. I drink a lot of coffee. Windshield observations. On average, 7 parking spaces available. High-low range 28 to 0 on two situations where there are no parking spaces available. In the month of August, I kind of gave up the other day, 25 observations, 7 average available parking spaces, a high of 23 available, a low of 0. 2 times did we have no parking spaces. I draw no conclusions as to whether we should do anything different. This is data. These are data. What this is telling me, though, is that we do have and I think if we continue to do this, I think we do have a seasonal issue, which someone's out there is going to say, well, that's terribly obvious. I think we need to figure out that we can't have a situation where employees working in our downtown establishments are burned out and have to go home early or can't come in because they can't find a place to park. And I hear that too. I hear that a lot. And I've heard my colleague to my left say that people are concerned or have expressed concern about walking into Foss Field at night because they feel unsafe. I've heard that from my colleague. We need to deal with all of that. At the same time, I like the idea of keeping us and keeping our pedestrians extremely safe. We are now at spec. We are where we're supposed to be with keeping the parking spaces where they are. I think the longer term question that we have to ask, and I'm asking this rhetorically, not to put anybody on the spot, but I would sure like to know What happens to our employee population in the months of June, July, and August and September? If we could kind of get a sense of what happens to the employee population in our downtown area, we could start putting this together with other pieces of information. And I know Brian said, it's a stretch that we might have to, and it's never used the word parking garage, and I don't want to use that word either. But this problem doesn't get better by ignoring it. This problem gets better by figuring out, do we really need additional parking for employees in our town? In the wintertime, I don't think there's a problem. You and I could drive downtown any day of the week, any hour of the day. We're going to find a place to park. It ain't going to be a problem. But I suspect that we need to start dealing with the longer-term problem, which is, what do we do about our employees? And I agree with Kathy. Our police department has done a spiffy job enforcing ordinances. We have to start asking ourselves a question about, what do we do about somebody who parks their car, gets on a boat, leaves here for 4.5 hours, comes back and has a ticket on it? We have some incongruities going on here. And so someone said the other day about knee-jerk reaction and quick kick. I don't believe in those types of reactions and quick kicks. I believe in taking a problem and taking it apart. And this problem we have here is not a parking problem. It's a how do we load this town to make sure that we're consistent in the way we do things. If I thought for 1 second that we were causing a problem with the business community, I'm not sure I would bite my tongue or bite my lip and say, let's compromise public safety, but I'd listen even more harder. But I haven't heard that yet, at least in my mind. So I'm not supportive of changing anything. I'm supportive of collecting and having us sit together and getting your input as to what other data should we start collecting, so that when either Brian or Linda or me or John or whomever or Dave go to the Capital Committee and we say, we think we need to acquire property, build a garage, do something, and we have some informed information. So that's where I am. And I'll leave copies of this for anybody. It's just data. And if you want more, just reach out. Okay, thanks.
Linda?
Yeah, I have, I'd like to make a motion, and then I think the problem with our decision was we never collected public input beforehand. Not that we hadn't thought about it individually.
So
I really believe when we do something like that, we need to get public input. I have one parking space that I would like to make a motion to return.
I think we ought to make sure everybody's had a chance to speak
I will hold on
first.
that. Yep, no problem.
John?
So, thank you, Paul, Brian, and Linda.
Yeah.
I spoke last time about the data, once again. Federal Highway Transportation, New Hampshire DOT, ADA, manual uniform traffic control devices that outlines guidelines for all the markings. It was recommended 20 feet on both sides of the crosswalk. I don't understand when Linda says we want to give that spot back at the post office. You're not considering the driver that's coming down this way. The driver that's coming this way, he actually has 2 obstructions in his way. He has, if that spot gets filled back up, he has the vehicle that's in that spot that's trying to come across the crosswalk, plus he has the cars in front of him that are also traveling in that direction. So he actually has to look past 2 different things, not just one. So when you say, well, you can take the one going in the other direction, it's actually twice as hard to look for that person. So that doesn't resonate with me. I went downtown this weekend with my son, and we had dinner, and he said, I said, well, they're talking about giving back the spots. He looks at me, he says, Dad, that's stupid. I was like, this is a kid who's driving a car, he's 25 years old, he has anxiety. He knows that people jump out in front of him. And the police and fire department, they must see traffic flowing better downtown. The fireman just spoke. He says he appreciates it. It's a safety issue. His men appreciate it. I agree with the traffic flow moving better this year. Absolutely. I've said it to other people. And there has not been one person that I've talked to that said, put the spots back. Not one. The other person that I saw last weekend said to me, safety is safety, isn't it? If you want to buy something downtown, you'll get to that store. No matter what. If you want it bad enough, you'll get there. I came down through during the electric light show, and I saw 3 parking spots open. I think the analogy that, oh, just because the businesses aren't open, well, then all the restaurants were open. So I don't really understand. Safety is safety. I don't understand if you take a spot from one side because you say you're coming in a different direction. I don't buy it. Just, we made a decision. Think of the driver that is driving that has to make a decision. If you say this board made a quick decision, think of the driver, how quick he has to make his decision. I'm not in favor of giving any spots back. I'm in favor of finding other parking spots and looking at other places. That's where I stand.
Dave?
Wait a minute. Yes?
Thanks. We have Kathy in this room, and we did a program, Jolly the Trolley, where I think the sign is still up at the high school even, for people to park up at the high school, and then they could have taken the trolley to town. Was it successful? I believe it wasn't, and we stopped it because people were not using it because people can find parking in town. So they didn't use it. The thing that I'm hearing, though, that I'm really worried about are these delivery trucks going across these spots and the crosswalk. That is something that we have to address now, because that sounds like it's more dangerous to me. But we have space over here in town where when buses come to town, they park in those spots. The majority of the time, there are no buses in those spots. They're open spots for the buses. Is there a way that we can create a space in town that all the delivery trucks go to that spot and park in that delivery spot? Could it be where the bus spots are? Turn the bus spots into parking and change the bus spot, one of them, to downtown, maybe in town a little more, so we're just shifting those buses and turning them into delivery truck space when, I mean, what are the odds of a bus and the delivery being there at the same time? I mean, I don't know. I just think that this is really problematic if we are parking delivery trucks across our crosswalks. Thanks.
Dave?
He goes next.
Kathy?
I like the idea that we're brainstorming about a lot of different things, and thank you for taking the time to do that and to let the public and the interaction here. I think it's just great. Several thoughts have occurred to me as we've been talking about this. First of all, you should know that one of the things that we have been doing is we have been collaborating with the Mount Washington so that Molly the Trolley is making a 10:30 run every day, I should not say, 6 days a week, with people from Kingswood to go out on the Mount ride. So that's happening, and they can buy that ticket when they buy their Mount ticket, when they do that online. And we are carrying not a huge, I mean, the Mount brings literally upwards of 100 people to town every day. This year, 7 days a week. The ones coming over from the Weirs, and they drop them off here, and they spend 2.5 hours with nothing to do but shop and eat, and maybe take a trolley ride. So it's so important to work with that. We've been doing that shuttle, which is for the people leaving and then coming back. We'd like them to be able to stay longer, but we can't keep the trolley going that much longer. So unfortunately, they take their ride back up, where if they could park down here, but they can't. They're going to get a ticket if they park down here for those 2.5 hours. I think we want to think out of the box a little bit, how we might be able to allow and encourage people to stay more than 2 hours. Right now, because we ticket everybody that comes in for 2 hours, you're not going to do everything you might do. You might stay longer. So there are ramifications from some of the things that we're doing. And maybe that, we have lots of parking spaces. What kind of a summer has it been for the businesses? I don't know yet. I haven't heard. I don't know how you have. So there's a lot of different factors involved. The idea of having a designated area for employee parking is a great idea, Paul. We can work on that to figure it out. I've thought about, other different things that we could do online in terms of allowing somebody to buy a parking pass that would allow them to stay longer if they wanted to, that goes on a thing. So I know that's a whole nother, like you say, things we don't want to say. Paying for parking and parking garages, things we don't want to say. They take more than 4 letters, but they're in that category, right? But sometimes you got to do that, and you got to think about what the real possibilities are, because if you do the same thing over and over again, you're going to get the same outcome, and we know what that's called. The tour buses. We've had more tour buses here this summer than we've had in the past, and we're going to have a lot more this fall. And that's a whole nother issue in terms of figuring out where they turn around and where they come. But I know the business have found that the tour bus people have been really great for them. I've had a lot of feedback from that because we're part of bringing that together. The Wright Museum and the trolley have done that this year. As I mentioned, the 2-hour limit is a double-edged sword. As I said, it limits people as well as provides the parking. So those are thoughts, but I love the idea that we're talking about this and getting ideas out on the table. Don't discount any of them. Rick's right. Okay, maybe the book, buy the book. Let's use common sense too. We're common sense people. You shorten that up so that it gives enough visibility, but it doesn't allow for those delivery trucks to park there. My other question is, what is our delivery truck ordinance? We have one. Last I knew, they are to only park during certain hours, and they can only go down one side of the street, and they are not supposed to be in dockside. So we have ordinances that should be enforced, and they were enforced when we put them out there, and those people will come a different time of day if we say they have to. And I think that the town has an ordinance, enforce it, don't ask the businesses to do it. So those are my last thoughts. I won't say any more.
Tom?
Tom Zotti, Fire Chief. First of all, I'd like to reiterate what Deputy Nichols said earlier about the feedback from the staff. But I would like to take a moment just to advocate particularly for the spot in front of the post office to remain as it is today. Turning the hydrant seems simple, but it could have a significant impact on our operations in that area in terms of apparatus placement and so forth. And to be honest, after approximately 25 years of the occasional poke trying to get that spot addressed, it finally got addressed. Could we leave it, please? Thank you.
Okay, Suzanne?
Suzanne Ryan, resident. I'm going to repeat the story that I told you at your last meeting. And Paul, you're absolutely right. You put your finger on it. It's employees that are, as you said, they expand in the summer, the season, and where do they all come from? Where do they park when they're working? Again, I think maybe 10 years ago, we put a warrant article in to build Glendon Street parking lot. It was, again, I'll say, but for those that maybe didn't hear the last meeting, Chip Maxfield came into the Taxpayers Association, for which I was an active member, and we did not support the money to build that lot. He said, I will work very diligently to see to it that employees park there. That was the deal. We turned around and we publicly supported it. We used to put out a paper before elections and that was supported by us. It passed. We paid for it. Employees are not using it. It's an easy walk. If I can do it, and people that are working can do it. Somebody has to send something from the town to the businesses saying, we politely request that you park down there in good weather. And they're not doing it. And some of you know who the people are that are parking in one of the spots. They're only shooting themselves in the foot when they park in a spot where a customer could park. Thank you.
Okay. Wait a minute, Linda. Let's let them talk first.
Not to take up too much more time, but we are spending a lot of time talking about safety, and this doesn't exactly pertain to this, but there is no school zone at Carpenter. I'd like to say that again. I don't understand why. And also, the speed limit through town is 30 miles an hour, which seems a little fast. I don't know who actually has jurisdiction over that, but neighborhoods in my area where I grew up were 15 miles an hour.
Just so you know, the state controls the speed limits, we do not. Yeah. That would be taken up with Division 3.
Rick Eaton again. I just wanted to add to what I had mentioned earlier, having a chance to sit here and listen to everybody and do a little brainstorming. I wasn't aware of the measurement on those parking spots, but after John mentioned that they're supposed to be 20 feet. Maybe an alternative, if you eliminate one, perhaps have, say, 14 feet on one side, 6 feet on the other. So it's sort of a compromise between eliminating one completely so that you still have a little bit of visibility. You've got 6 feet between the crosswalk and, say, the back bumper of a vehicle, in addition to the width of the sidewalk. Only 14 feet on the other side. Both of those will discourage vehicles from parking there because of the limited length of the space available. So that's just another thought you might want to consider.
So the net result is you still lose those 2 parking spaces.
I'm sorry?
The net result of that calculus is you still lose the 2 parking spaces.
Right.
Well, right now you've got 2 20-foot spots, 40 feet. You eliminate one of those, work with 20 feet. You put 14 feet on one side, 6 feet on the other. So you, in essence, possibly gain back some parking and discourage people from parking there.
Linda?
Yeah, I will not make that motion, but I did email the fire department and ask if it was possible. I think I got an email back that it could be a drop-off, that you had no issue with that. That's why I was willing to make that statement. It seems like a parking space in the winter that's important to people, and I can show you the emails if you want.
I'll read it right now. The email reads, yes, it should remain no parking as it is directly in front of a fire hydrant. No real issue attended pickup and drop off, but I do question the ability to enforce it. I'm willing to negotiate a bit on the 15 feet as long as we have room to work around the hydrant.
There you go.
Period.
So I just want to make sure people know that I just didn't decide to do that, that I did check that out.
Brian? Brian's up.
Okay.
Dave.
Brian?
Yep. So I will also say I've asked at 3 different meetings, and Captain Livy has said that in the spots that we changed at those crosswalks, in his entire time that he's been here, there's never been a serious injury at those spots. There was a fatality up by Mill Street with a car coming down the hill at a visible crosswalk where a driver wasn't paying attention. That is a complete travesty. But the spaces that we changed in town, Captain Livy has said, and I'll say it now, this is the 4th or 5th time, he said to us, and he said it on mic, that there's never been a serious injury with a pedestrian going across one of the crosswalks in our downtown. Because when it's congested, they're actually moving very slow, the cars. That's number 1. Number 2, I talked to many, many people in town and out of town, and I don't know who John's talking to. Maybe he's not talking to business owners, but a lot of people are saying that they would like some of the spots given back. People that I talked to who said, I kind of like it the way it is. I said, well, what about a compromise? What if we gave back the ones after the crosswalks? And I had most people said, that would be a good solution too, that they were open to that solution. Employee parking. My sons worked at the Yum Yum Shop and Dockside and Garwood's for many years. They all walked together back and forth to the Glendon Street lot. They did it the right way. So there are workers who do it the right way, but it does have to be consistent. And I do know that their bosses told them, you have to park in the Glendon Street lot. So the message is there, but it needs to be there better. I agree with Kathy and with Suzanne. And about parking and getting on a boat for 4 hours, there are plenty of places in town where you can park and it's unlimited parking. As a matter of fact, the railroad parking lot and the Glendon Street lot, you can park there for 7 days straight without moving your car. So there are plenty of places if you want to get on the Mount Washington for 3 hours. You don't have to park in the limited number of downtown spots that are only for 2 hours. And Paul, I would like to see the backup information, if you can find it, from 11 years ago with whoever.
With Dave Ford?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
See if I can find it.
Find that backup information for
Sure.
me so I can.
Sure, I'll go back and dig
So I
through
can
the
understand it.
archives of the town.
And,
For you.
It's a great idea to have the tractor trailers all park in one spot in order to unload, but the problem is there have been times this summer when I've been watching where there was 3 or 4 delivery trucks at the same time, so that becomes problematic. And Paul passed out a whole bunch of data. I didn't have time to do the data that he did. I didn't start until somewhere around July 14th or something, but I had 2 spots. So this was 3 times in one day, 11 to 12:20. 2 spots, 0 spots, 2 spots. At 1:11, 2 spots. On Friday, the July 25th at 10 o'clock, 1 spot. At 11:42 on the 25th, 0 spots. On July 26th at 8:40 a.m., 3 spots. At 9:35, 0 spots. I never found more than, for July and into the middle of August, more than 4 spots open at any time I went. And I actually found times when there was -1 because people were parking illegally in no parking zones. So I don't know how the data can be so different, but that's
It's really easy. You just take more samples. Linda, do you remember the name, and I'm putting you on the spot, do you remember the name of the highway DOT person that we had up here when we did the crosswalk conversation down at the Wright Museum?
No, I don't know the
But you
name.
remember him, right?
Oh, I absolutely do.
Okay, and remember that meeting where weren't we talking about downtown crosswalks as well, and there was going to be bump outs and...
Well, I already brought that in. I think I sent it to Jim.
All right,
There's
good.
a whole plan put out by
Sure.
Rob Hausman that had bump outs, also had bike lanes through
So that'll help
downtown.
me. I'll just have Jim resurrect that,
It's-
and we'll get it over to you, Brian.
I believe it is-
Lickety split.
If you want me to finish, it is the backup for the transportation section of the master plan, and I sent those over to Jim. And
Thank you. We'll get that to you lickety split. Mr. Chairman, can I make another comment? So I'm going to disagree with Bobby Budman. It's a question of speed. I don't know where you're coming into town from that end. I'm sitting in a queue the other day up at Forest Road waiting to get into town. I think that we learned something in the Pickering Corner analysis that the state did for us. It said it doesn't matter if you have a roundabout or a 4-way stop sign or anything up there. Traffic is going to grow into this town 1% per year out into the future, and so it ain't getting better. It's going to be more clogged up. That's just this is an artery. This is the Southeast Expressway. So I didn't see it get any faster, but I did see people having more freedom to not have to check their bet before they came across the crosswalk. You know, one thing we could do, by the way, folks, while we're brainstorming, let's just eliminate a crosswalk. We could save 4 parking spaces just like that. Let's just do it. We could do that. But what I would really, again, I ask, and I'm going to ask my colleagues who sit with the business community, if we could get a sense of how the population of our student body, of our employees grows during the summertime, we might be able to say, okay, I'm making the number up. We have 400 parking spaces available to us. Population grows by 80, 90, 100 people. 15% of those people need places to park. Bang, we have to go find N number of parking spaces. Where can we find those? We either make them or we buy them or we do something. That to me is problem solving. And that to me is something that I think whomever just left us, that's what we should do together, is figure out how to fix that problem. I'm not in favor of changing anything. I don't know if there's a motion to be made. Do you need a motion?
No, I want to make sure everybody's had a chance to talk.
Hi, Libby Shannon again. I really don't want you to change any crosswalks or take them away, but I have heard the word parking now about 3,000 times, so I don't know how any of you are even keeping it straight. You've basically argued for and against your own statements, so maybe if you replay this meeting and the other ones to yourselves, you're having a circular argument.
Thank you.
You're saying there's parking now, but there's not, and you've talked to people. Who are they, Brian? Where are their statements? Why don't you start an online survey? Why don't we do an email? You had all the signs and the beautiful posters up here when the state was going to come through and change things. Could have done that. As you said, you've been talking about this for 11 years. And still, it's just a circular argument. I feel like you made a decision. You made the right decision for now.
Right.
I like his idea of still getting the 20, the 16, and the 4. But I think you really ought to maybe go back to the first meeting, listen to that again, where you were so convinced about how unsafe it was. And every single one of you agreed with me on a human level that you wouldn't want to get hit by a car, nor would you want anyone you love to get hit by a car, nor would you want to be, as a select board member, responsible for someone being hit by a car. I didn't hear the policeman speak. I'm surprised that any policeman would say that this out here is safe. How many of them said it? Just one of them. So I think you don't have enough data, and it's just very I'm even confused now about where I want to cross the street. So I do appreciate all of your time, and I don't think anybody's against you. Just we don't know what to do. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Linda?
Yeah, one last thing. This is how we get public comment. This is what helps us decide, is hearing from you and us throwing out ideas.
Rationing.
And this is the only way we have to do it, to even talk to each other, because we as a board can't talk, 3 of us as a group. We only can do it here. So I'm sorry if we sometimes repeat ourselves and go around in circles. We're just really trying to take a look at this in as many ways as we can and respect the public for their comments.
Brian?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say to Libby. Libby and I had a great conversation before the first meeting on parking, and I knew what she was going to come and ask for. When I saw it on our agenda, I reached out to her because I wanted to see what the citizen wanted. She said, I would like to have the spots before the crosswalks removed and make it so that we can see the crosswalks. And I thought that was a great idea. I agreed with her, and I said, I hope the board goes that way. Well, the board ended up going a different way without any public input, without any public comment, because it was pushed down our throats by one select board member. And I agreed with your first proposal. I still agree with that first proposal. I still believe in safety. But I also have a contingent of people that I know, and I don't make everybody's name public, because people talk to me sometimes and they don't want to be the one that the neighbor will yell at for not agreeing with them. And from people both in town, business owners, and I'm not just hanging my hat on business owners, from people in town and out of town, I found the general consensus was the spots before the crosswalks are a must, and some ones after the crosswalks would be also good to leave. That's where I am. I just think that I've been on the board for 4 years, and for 4 years, if you said get rid of a parking spot, you felt like you were going to be thrown out of town. And now all of a sudden it's turned into let's get rid of 12 without batting an eye and thinking twice. So I think we should have a compromise. I'm all about compromise.
I'm sorry, I lie about this all the time. I'm going to say one more thing. It's the middle of August, and I think that it would be really behoove you if you could not take any action. I don't think you plan to tonight, but to have another. I thought there was going to be 2 public hearings. I just reread it, and I see that that did not apply to this issue. The business people are out there working really hard right now, and there are very few. I think Hunter and I and Mary are the only ones really here tonight, and I may be wrong. There may be other businesses here, but I think it would be nice to have another opportunity for business people to come in, because what I've heard too, I don't hear tonight, and I think it would be good for other businesses to be able to come in and speak. And I haven't actually said that I do believe in the compromise and to putting back the parking spaces that you have circled. I think that would be a good idea. And I remember that fatality, and it happened in an area that he's coming down that hill where it was wide open to see at the corner of Mill Street in broad daylight, all right? And that 9-year-old child, and we haven't had it any place else. And that happened in 1981.
Okay.
So in October, it wasn't even the summertime. Okay, thank you.
So I just want to say I wasn't talking about speeding through town. I was talking about the flow of traffic. And certainly still when I come into town, I do hit traffic. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when we couldn't see, we had to come to a complete stop at every crosswalk just to make sure. Yeah. Now we can see, so going through at 5 miles or 10 miles, it just the flow of traffic just seems to me through town this summer a little better. But I do have a question. We have numerous schools, churches, nonprofits who are tax exempt. Now, when they're tax exempt, and I'm sorry, I'm going to do this at the mic, they're still part of the value of our town. So we are not taxing them, but they're still part of the value of our town. Have we reached out to some of these schools and churches and nonprofits and asked when they're not in the midst of their workday or their school year, if we can use some of that parking? Again, they are tax exempt, and we are picking up the value of that property on our taxes as citizens. So maybe this is just a place where they can give a little bit of benefit back to the citizens of our town. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody want to make any decisions tonight?
Can I make one more comment?
What?
Can I make one more comment?
You?
No, you. I agree that we shouldn't make a decision tonight. I think we're done. I think we should continue, and I would ask that if people want us to research things and not just qualitatively research things, let's do that. And I would ask that, my colleagues who are part of, the business community teams, put the question to them. What quantitative research do you want us to do so that we can get to a destination? And then my last point is on on the purveyors, I'm going to pitch that one to the business community. What do you want to do about it? Because I suppose we could regulate it, because there's a bias to regulation here, but I suppose I don't want to do that. So what do you want us to do about that? And that would be, I'll just park it and leave that there. But I think ask the business community to tell us what quantitative research you want us to do, and we'll do it.
So I'm going to go back one more step. Just like the roundabouts, I'm going to,
No.
if this board doesn't want to do it, I'm going to ask, or I'll put up a petition warrant article to ask the citizens of town in our election in March, do you want the parking spots to be as is or return some of the spots after the crosswalks? And I think we should do a petition warrant article for it.
I'm going to disagree with you. I think that we certainly have gotten a lot more information tonight than what I thought we might get. And I think we ought to put this off to another time this fall. We'll set up another meeting with the business community after Labor Day, and let's hear what they have to say.
Okay.
I don't have any problem with what Linda brought forward as far as those 2 spaces. I do have an issue with the rest of them. I originally thought of the spaces on the other side of the crosswalks. Now I'm not so sure that that's what I want to do. So as far as giving back spaces, I like it the way it is. Some people I've talked to are both on one side or the other. Most of them are on the side that they like the visibility they have now when they come through Wolfeboro. And I do too. So I think that we will stop the public hearing at this point, unless there's somebody else out there. I think we've heard at least once or twice from most of you. And I think we ought to set up another hearing sometime after Labor Day when things slow down a little bit to make a decision. But I don't know about the rest of the selectmen. I think that at this point we should just leave it alone, leave it the way it is. I think the truck issue, we have an ordinance for that. I remember when that was put in quite a few years ago. We have not, over the years that I've seen, had a lot of problems with double parking. But I think a lot of the purveyors for a long time scheduled their deliveries early so that they didn't have an issue with coming in here during the day.
It's over there.
I did happen to see a food truck packed down in front of the coffee shop behind the post office, and he was delivering food products all the way over to the diner. That's quite a haul. But he was parked on a side street. He had a big 2-wheeler full of groceries, and he was off to the diner to make a delivery. Now that gentleman, I think, took it to the ultimate, really. But some of these purveyors could be told that, and I think a lot of them would listen. I know they did years ago. So if nobody has anything else, I'm going to move to the next thing on our agenda.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Thank you for information. Okay, next on our agenda is the bulk vote. This includes weekly manifests, tents to cut, property exemptions and credits. Anybody have any questions on any of those?
I only have a question on one of them, and I'm going to let it go because I happen to know, but when we got the property exemption and credit for 219 Middleton Road, there was no comment from the assessor on whether it was okay or not. I just didn't have time to check on that.
Okay.
But I just know who they are, and I'm sure that that's fine. But I really would be, they usually put in the comments, okay to go, and that one did not. So I'm comfortable with having it go forward. But Jim, will you just check to make sure that it was just an error of omission?
I will.
With that, I'll make a motion to approve the bulk vote A through C inclusive.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Committee appointments, Energy Committee, alternate member, Rod Cecil, to be an alternate on the Energy Commission. He happened to be here? No. Okay, somebody like to make a motion?
Brian, you want to do that?
Yeah. I'd make a motion to appoint Rod Cecil as a alternate to the Energy Committee.
I'll
Term
second.
expire 2027, right?
Yes.
Oh.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And the new business, tree removal and replacement program. CRF requests $55,000. Mr. Randall.
Good evening, Steve Randall, Public Works. So I am here tonight to seeking funds out of the tree removal and replacement expendable trust. Public Works is working with MED to continue to remove the dead trees that we have in town. And then we're going to work with Parks and Rec to plant and maintain existing trees. So currently we have just over $66,000 in the account, and we are looking to for you to authorize a total of 55, with 35 being spent on removal and 20 to replant and prune. So the breakdown looks like this. In the replanting section, they're looking to put 6 trees in Foss Field, 1 at McKinney Park, 1 at Cary Beach, for a total of $4,000. The rest of the $16,000 of their ask will go to pruning throughout town. They are working with Bartlett Tree, as we've lost Kirk Titus. So they will be working with Bartlett Tree to try to improve the health of the existing trees that we have at this point. MED and the Highway Department have identified a bunch of dead trees. Haynes Hill, Stoddard Road, Trask, North Wolfeboro Road, Pleasant Valley Road, Pork Hill, a couple at the Clark Complex, Center Street, and South Main. Some of these have already been to the planning board for approval. I am going to go to their next meeting to get approval for Trask, Stoddard, and Haynes. So we are looking for you to authorize $55,000.
Yeah, about, I would say 3 or 4 years ago, we had a tree inventory done. And are some of the trees that, and I know it was for a limited area, so are some of the trees are marked in that inventory? So
Yes.
I just want to make sure that we're using that inventory.
We are. Most of that was that inventory is more for,
Main
I'm not gonna say
Street.
this area, but this corridor in this area. They didn't extend so much out to North Wolfboro, which is where we have a bunch in this round.
And didn't it go down
Pleasant Valley Road, yeah.
And it
No, I
didn't,
just
I don't
wanna
think it
make
went down
sure
Forest
people
Road, it was more here, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just want to make sure, because
We-
we spend money for things, and I
Yes.
want the public to know that we're taking it out, we're using it in the areas we need to.
Last year, that corridor that we worked on here, South Main, Pleasant Valley Road, Middleton Road, all of that came directly out of that. And then we're still using that on where we can, but we have some others dying outside of the.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. And we're not going to spend the money to do an inventory of all the town trees going out that way. We're just going to eyeball it. If it's dead, it's dead.
It's dead. And we have pictures for them that we'll show to the planning board if they have any questions. But these are dead.
Is there ever an issue where the tree is on our property, on private property?
We only deal with the trees that are on our property.
Okay. Even if they're a hazard to the street or to power lines, or?
So if it's power lines,
Barry does.
so MED deals with that a little differently than we do. If it is a hazard tree, but it is on your property, as far as Public Works goes, that is your responsibility. If the tree comes down, obviously we have to clean up in the road, but that is your tree to deal with.
Okay.
Steve, Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I ask you a question? Thanks for doing this, Steve. I pointed out one this weekend to Christine on Cary Beach. It's not a red maple, there's another one down there. It's a conifer. It's in bad shape. It's right where the porta potty and that shower is. So you pull into that and you just look straight at the bottom of the tree, looks great. The top of the tree is dead. And so just FYI on that. just an observation, and I'm not here to, I'll gladly approve what you want to do here, but to me, the math is backwards. That's not your fault. So let's get that out of the way. 35,000 to take them down, 20 to replace them. We got to get to a point where it's 35,000 to replace them, 20 to take them down.
And ultimately,
That
that's
tells
the
us
goal.
we're adding to the inventory, you know, as we all around here espouse the corridor and all that stuff, but we never get to the point where we pony up the dough. So I'd like us to, you know, have a conscious effort to make sure we're adding to the inventory of trees. And I got it. You've taken these things down because they're probably diseased and haven't been maintained and all that kind of stuff, but you got my point.
I do.
Thank you.
Linda?
Yeah, for a while, we used to have name a bench, and we talked about buy a tree, and I know the library did buy a tree.
Buy a tree.
So I wonder whether we don't want to do some campaigning to get people to donate and buy a tree, because I'm with you, Paul. I want to see some more go in, and we need probably, and I know we got some money, so I'm hoping that we can get that up and running.
Look, you know, you guys know me, and I'm not being mean here. We were blowing sunshine all over each other when we were talking about the corridor and how lovely and, you know, blah, 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 blah. Well, let's get down to the fact that we're going to be taking down trees when we start building that. We better have some money in the bank so we can put things back.
Agreed.
Because Barry's going to do what he has to do. God bless him. You're out there. I know you are. He has to do those things because he has to relocate infrastructure. And he's got no money to replace things. He's got money to tear it out. So message to the public, if you're serious about making the place beautiful, and whatever we were talking tonight about our down, put some trees in there too. That would not be a bad idea. But we have to invest in that. And I like the idea of buying a tree.
I do too.
I do too.
What size trees do you usually plant when you replant? How tall?
I think Jimmy usually goes like 8-10 feet-ish.
Okay.
I think it varies on where he is and what trees he's buying.
So an 8 to 10 foot tree to plant costs half as much as taking down a big mature tree. So that's why the numbers go off. Now, if you want to plant 20-foot trees and take down a mature 30-foot tree, now you can get a break even. So it's a matter of what size trees
That's
that you
good math.
that you
But
wanna
my
plant.
point is we want to add to the inventory
Correct.
as opposed to reducing the inventory of trees.
Well, the other thing, if I may add, that where we're taking these trees down, we're taking them down out in the middle of nowhere in fully clustered forests. Which is part of the reason why they're dead.
Yeah.
So you take them down, we want to put them back in places
That's
that
good
they will
math.
thrive
Somewhere
and be
else.
healthy. That, like say around the corridor,
Yeah.
we're not going to put them in the corridor yet because we're going to tear it up.
Yeah.
So it is on the forefront.
Yeah, but I think Paul's ideas is what we need. We need more trees, and I think now's the time to start getting people to donate.
Okay,
Because there's going to be a ton of them going
so
up
moving
North.
forward,
That's me.
what's it going to take to put money in the budget for next year?
So I think I can't remember exactly what I put in off the top of my head, but I put in for it for this year when we did it with CIP, just like I have for the last 3 years.
100,000?
I don't know if I did 100, if I did 50.
I think
John. I'm not, honestly, I'm not positive off the top of my head.
So
It's either 50 or 100. May have
So
been
is
100.
that going to be a standalone item?
So it's typically a standalone item.
Okay.
And last year on the floor, somebody suggested a certain percentage for replanting out of that money, which is where we kind of came up with this plan.
So being in the business, different trees cost different monies.
Right.
So, and different caliper size cost different monies. And it comes down to how you plant the tree and what the conditions are. If we go to put trees in, we should be putting them in the right climate zone in the springtime so that they at least going to get some rain, rather than when you put them in the ground like right now. If you put a tree in the ground right now, the ground is bare, dry, and you're just going to be there all the time, and the tree is just going to dry up because the ground all around it's dry.
Yeah, he has no intention of planting now. So the last round of planting they did was in the spring.
It was an Arbor Day project, if I remember. It was an Arbor Day project, if I remember correctly. And if I remember correctly, just for everybody's information, you budget money within your own department for some tree removal. Barry budgets some in municipal electric for some tree removal. This is the expendable trust, which is
Yes.
funds above and beyond
Correct.
those budgeted monies.
Yes.
But you work collaboratively with Barry for
Correct.
economy
So
of scale.
if we can partner up with MED, while they have, they had 3 trucks they were running this summer, we try to do that where we can. We get much more than me going out with my guys in a crew, and they do their stuff. We partner up, we get a bunch of them done.
So Jim, how can we move that number from 50 to 100,000?
It's a warrant article item, standalone, so, that's where it lies. It'll be coming to you in November for reviews.
Change it.
Dave,
Linda?
can I make a motion?
Sure.
I'd like to make a motion to approve Public Works request to spend $55,000 from the tree removal and replacement capital reserve as stated in the August 20th, 2026 memo to the board.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Anybody opposed?
You're back.
Thanks, Steve. Next on our agenda is Granite State Clean Fleets Grant Program, Public Works.
So you have a memo in front of you with some backup information. Steve was able to apply for a grant that he is going to be awarded contingent upon warrant article approval for funding. In the memo, you have the math, which I'll let Steve speak to, draft warrant article as to what that'll look like, and a motion with the backup information about the grant, the approval, saying it's contingent upon warrant article approval. Steve?
So this will replace HD2, which is HD7, which is our oldest truck. It's a 2002, so it's 23 years old. That was scheduled for replacement this past spring. Obviously, our warrant article failed, so we were lucky enough to apply for this grant, get it 70% forgiveness, and we're hoping that you are agreeing to that, to sign off, and that the voters will support it in the spring. It's going to save us a lot of money.
Now, is the truck, is the truck you're replacing, is that the 6-wheel, the red one?
It's the orange one.
Orange one?
Yeah, the orange
Okay.
one.
So the red one's the newer one,
The
right?
red one is a 2020, and then the white one is the newest one, the one we got last year. So this will, like I said, this is the oldest truck we have. It met all the parameters. It's on its 3rd motor, 2nd body, and it is certainly due for replacement.
Now, will this, I didn't really see the specs. Is this an automatic?
Yes.
Okay.
So unfortunately or unfortunately, now pretty much everything is coming through as automatics.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't a shift. I remember we had a hard time finding one the last time.
So where I have started to go to purchase our trucks from HV Fairfield, they're turnkey package deals. The trucks all come through heavy specs, and they're set up very, very well.
Okay.
It's a $285,000 truck now for a 6-wheeler.
It's pretty wild.
I gotta get my micro.
And the grant award is $187,897, so it's a very good program for us to invest in. The one negative trade-off, but it's not a big deal, is we have to destroy the motor in the existing truck, so we'll have little to no trade-in value.
Yep. And we have
But
to
it's
take
worth
a
it for the
torch
grant.
and cut a hole in the block. Unfortunately, I can't trade it in.
Question?
But
Paul?
So I just want to make sure I understand this. So we're going to apply for the 285. We'll get a retirement of a 187 on the 285, and we're not going to see that money until 2027. Because it says this, oh, hang on, it says, well, when are we going to get, when do we get the money?
The project has to be complete
Done.
by December 31st, 2026.
26.
So when do we get the money?
As soon as it's approved at warrant article.
yeah, so if I, for instance, if I had.
See, that's not the way I read it. Okay, that's the way I read it is we're going to put out a warrant. Voters are going to either say yay or nay. We're going to say it's a good idea. But the way I read this is they're going to wait until 31 December before they say, oh, okay, your project's done, we're going to pass out the money.
No.
No.
So we could expect to see the money in July of next year?
We could. So what I was going to say was, if I had the money in my capital reserve fund
June?
right now, I could do it now.
I understand.
And we would then recoup that back. So once we
I'm just
get
trying to figure out
approval
when
from
we're going to say to the voters, we're going out and we need the dough, and that's fine. And we're going to have to hold back that money until we get it returned. I'm just trying to figure out when we get paid back. That's all.
So the return on it, from everything that I have read, and I think Jim understands the same way I do, that it moves very quickly. We have to have our part done.
You have to show them a bill of sale.
Right.
Or
So if
whatever,
for some
purchase.
reason the truck isn't available, so we vote in March, and I place my order,
Have
and
you
I
s-
don't get the truck until November, then
Have
we're
you
not going
scoped it? Have you scoped out whether you can get one of these things? And so it's available.
Yes.
It's not going to be like getting a police cruiser. I understand those are 7 years out.
No, which is one of the reasons why we have gone to the vendor we go to, is because they're one of the largest in the country, and
Okay.
they have
All right.
everything there.
Thank you. Thank you for clearing it up. I just misunderstood. I appreciate it.
Okay, because I have a motion.
I'll move to authorize the town manager to sign the New Hampshire Volkswagen Environmental Mitigation Trust Granite State Clean Fleet Grant and any other required document associated with the grant number NHVW 2025-01-010, with awards of fund contingent upon the approval of the 2026 town meeting. Are you throwing things at me?
I did. I'm sorry.
We have a second to that? Paul?
Brian is seconding it because it's a Volkswagen.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephen.
Okay, I'd like to introduce to you our new planner. Back in October of 2024, I was contacted by a gentleman by the name of Bill Scott, who was interested in the planning position. We had some conversations at the time. He had to back out. He came forward again to me this spring, showing an interest in the position again. We were able to meet. We were able to come to an agreement, and he is our new planner. He started on the first week of August this year. A little bit about his background. He's been in planning and development from 1997 through 2020 in the communities of Orange, Mass., Newburyport, Mass., North Andover, Mass., and Amesbury, Mass. From 2019 to 2021, he was the assistant town manager in the town of Salem. And from 2021 until him coming to work here in Wolfeboro, he was the assistant town manager in Yarmouth, Mass. I'd like to introduce Bill Scott as our new planner. He has a document that he's provided for you this evening, and he's going to give you a summary of the planning department, where it lies, and where he's headed. Bill, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I've been here since August 4th, trying to catch up on a lot of sort of backlog and work, and met with all the boards, at least one meeting. So what I think the important thing that we want to look at is how do we create a process so we can move effectively into an organization that can respond to the permit stream, so in a manner that doesn't pull all the resources in, so they can start doing other work. And I sort of laid that out in August 20th memo. Sorry, I just gave it to you this evening through the town manager. And really, there's two steps here. August and September, we're going to go through all the processes and make sure that we're getting the backlog done. We have backlog in some of the permitting areas. And then also take a look at where can we improve. And I think in that, trying to get rid of redundant steps, how do we make the process with the boards and the committees more effective to the extent that their packets are going out one of the ideas we're having is each board, zoning board, planning board, and also the building permits would have a web page, and all of the packets would be posted on the web page. The distinct advantage is departments can immediately start looking at plans, abutters can understand what's going on, and board members, you know, as the information comes in, we're adding it to that website, so they get the full packet as it moves through the process. So there might be a packet up under the section called pre-hearing. The next one would be after the hearing, the next one, and you move it down to a decision rendered and then construction. So the person who may have not followed the process for the 6 months or so it takes still sees the construction packet and everything that happened. The next thing we need to look at is how do we document all the material that goes to these boards? It's daunting that, you know, emails are flying in from separate consultants. You know, over here there's a stormwater person, over here is the architect, and it's like, you know, air traffic control. So I think it's important that the applicants get involved to the extent that we're going to start making them develop the bibliography, as it were. So as plans come in, they give us a list, and then as more plans come in and revisions, they give us the revised plan, but then they give us that total list again. And then that way, we're not trying to track and put it all together at the end when we're making the decision. So in here, there's some pretty straightforward, you know, sort of ideas. I'm going to be going to the boards and getting more specific on some of these. You know, there's things like we file things at the Registry of Deeds. How can we make that more efficient? Some applicants have said, well, you know, I've got a closing, I've got this, and it's sitting on somebody's desk. We want this process to be accommodating, but at the same time, very, you know, thorough. So we don't have to make a process difficult for somebody to get an outcome. And that's really the, you know, the end of the memo points to, we want to look at the outcome we want to achieve and not necessarily the bureaucracy, the process we have to set up to do that. And, you know, in the memo I mentioned, you know, something people are familiar with, the Belichick quote, "We're on to Cincinnati." I think it's clear that we want to have a process where we're not talking about the past, we're not talking about don't do this, we're inventing a process based on where we are now in time and what we're facing. So there's a lot of great committees. I'll be working with a Waters Committee. I already have a meeting set up with, I think it's a Wentworth group, and so we'll take a look at those committees and see how we can help them, you know, through the shoreline process and other things to protect the water supply. But right now, it's really about catching up and seeing how we can provide better services to the boards, to the contractors. But we've got a great team. Joel, our codes administrator, you know, is, you know, figuring out good ways where we can provide quicker answers, but very definitive ones. So we're working together and maybe making a list of every conceivable permit that you might need, you know, in zoning, and then going through those and saying, you don't need this, you do need that, rather than just saying you need just this and find out you need something else later. So we really want to get these processes so it's more of a critical path. The issue is somebody would find out that they go over to do this permit, and then they find out by doing that they have something else. So I trust Joel's ability to render these decisions, and we really want to make that go through that funnel. So I'm not going to make a decision on codes until he's seen it, and so the applicant gets the benefit of not being surprised later. So, but this is pretty straightforward. It's about 120 days. I'll be going to the boards and committees and giving them more specific information than this. This is sort of a 1,000 points of light view. So if there's any questions, I'm here, and it's been great. I mean, I've enjoyed working with the boards and the committees and look forward to, you know, expanding that once we get out of this 120 days.
Brian?
Will you be able to come to us sometime and enlighten us on how the zoning mandates in the state are going to affect what happens with zoning in Wolfeboro?
There is actually a conference, I think, NHMA is doing it, and it's in Tuftonboro, where they're going to go over that, some of that. I'm sorry, it's a Lakes Region Planning is doing it. It's right there. I'm going to be doing that, and then we're going to, when I look at those things, I usually make a table or a matrix, and then you say, here's the state's action, here's how it affects our sections, and then here's a result that we need to address. The concern when you have to address that is if they've sped up the process, you want to at least have checks and balances in that expedited process. So there is one section where there's a change that says if you have a peer review, then the building permit has to be issued in 14 days. We need to define what peer review is, because I've seen on a continuum some really good ones, and I've seen template peer reviews that you could put onto any project, and it's not as effective as what you really want. So we need to define when the state says, you get this if you do this, and it's really expedited process, what is the definition of what they're doing? So that's some of the protections we should look at. All right, thank you.
Anybody have any other
Comment?
questions?
I make a comment?
What's that?
May I make a comment?
If you'd like to, as long as it's short.
For the benefit of the members of the public, hopefully Bill's note to Jim will be published. Yeah, how many times have we sat in the room and said, what in the hell is this person doing? Okay, look at Zadi, he's looking laughing. So, and so now we have a piece of paper from our planner that says, at least within the next 6 months, if he's on his way to Cincinnati, that was a Bill Belichick thing, right?
Yeah.
You reminded me. So we know what he's up to. We know what he wants to accomplish. I think that's important because we've been kind of wandering in the woods in this part of the neighborhood, and I think it's really helpful to hear you speak to it, but most importantly, you took the time to write it down, and I think that's great. So I hope that for those people who want to know, we'll get them, if it's okay with you, we get it up on the minutes or someplace on the planning office website. Thank you for joining us, Bill.
Thanks, Bill.
All right, thank you.
We'll probably see you again. Okay, next on our agenda is update of fire-based 911 ambulance service.
So, same day Bill started, we hired the Deputy Chief of EMS, Brian Evangelista, to embark on bringing fire-based ambulance services to the town of Wolfeboro as voted on by the voters last year. Brian comes to us as a retired firefighter paramedic out of Pembroke, Massachusetts. He's got a long history in the fire service. He's also got a long history in private EMS, which I think will be very beneficial for us as we navigate through this program. I have provided for you a copy of his resume, cover letter, job description. And with that said, hand it over to the chief, and then Brian's got a few things that he wants to go over to give you an idea of where he's heading with the program. Chief?
Thank you. Tom Zotti, Fire Chief. Since starting a few weeks back, Brian has rapidly become an integral part of our operation, and in the interest of expediting things, I think you're about to see why, and I'll get out of the way and let him speak for himself.
Thank you, Chief. So again, Brian Evangelista, just give you a quick rundown. I know you have my resume in front of you. Again, I've been in the EMS for over 35 years. I've been 32 of those years I've been a paramedic. So I worked in the private sector for quite a few years, worked my way all the way up, supervisor to manager. ambulance service. Also been a manager of an EMS department of a independent living community, kind of like the Taylor properties here in town. We had one down on the South Shore, where I managed over a department of about 30 or so people. Developed, again, relationships down there, and also developed some education and some training. Like Jim said, I've been in the fire service for about 20 years, a couple of different towns. I started out being a call firefighter, worked my way up until where I ended my career down in Pembroke as a lieutenant, a paramedic. And then came up here, and I'm also a paramedic instructor. So I kind of wanted to go over, we developed a timeline. One of my jobs the first day I got here was developing a timeline, where we're going to go, what we're going to be doing. So within the 30, 60 day, one of my goals was obviously to meet with the fire department staff. It's obviously ongoing. I'm discussing with them the implementation plan, talk with them, discuss every day how we're doing, what we're doing. I've also met with the little EMS group that we have, a couple of the firefighters, again, talking to them about, again, where we want to see this department to go, what equipment do we want, what do you think is out there. Meeting with Huggins EMS manager and the medical director. Actually, I met with him this morning. Had a great conversation, again, seeing where we're going to develop this plan, how we're going to move this forward, training, that type of stuff with the hospital. And then also working on the dispatch personnel, talking with them over the last couple of days, discussing, again, future dispatch policies, procedures, how we're going to handle that. Also, we started developing, writing some SOPs, standard operating procedures, standard operating guidelines regarding ambulance operations, also billing and collections policy, and also developing some transport rates for the select board to review. That's, again, currently being drafted up right now. Working on getting a quote for the deputy chief's vehicle, in order and supplies for the ambulance. That's actually in process. We put the PO on the other day, so hopefully that would be pretty soon. And once we get all the supplies, we'll start to stock the ambulance up. And again, part of the ambulance training I'm going to start doing with the folks, actually started doing the last couple of days, is working with the staff that we currently have, is working on some documentation, working on the equipment, working on just general communications, report writing, that type of stuff. So they're going to be comfortable the day we hit the road, and that ambulance will be comfortable with all the equipment that we're doing. So roughly around the 60-day, 90-day mark, we're going to start to process the department license. We're going to process the ambulance inspection request. So obviously we get the license, and then we get the inspection. Send out an RFP for a billing company. Again, whoever we choose for a billing company, we'll start working with them on training, again, what type of system we're going to set up, how we're going to do it, that type of thing. Also, we're going to start reviewing the response plan for the second call responses, which has been previously set up by the EMS committee. In conjunction with that, we'll start working with Stewart's Ambulance about taking over that second call, and then looking at stuff that way. Getting towards the end of the 120, 180 days, obviously depending on town meeting, contingent, we're going to increase the group staffing, and then hopefully, I shouldn't say hopefully, I know we will, start doing backup responses within that time frame. Couple of nice things that are actually happening is we actually have 5 firefighters right now going into advanced EMT school, and we also have 2 firefighters going to paramedic school. So that's showing the growth and showing the excitement that this department has. And like I said, I'm excited to be with these guys, excited to move this program forward. So as everybody I've talked to, they've all been excited, and hopefully to move this forward. I know I kind of went through that a little quickly. I just want to give you a quick rundown. You can obviously see that in the last 2.5 weeks that I've been here. We've accomplished a lot just in that short time. Great teamwork with the deputy and the chief and the staff. So any questions? Yes.
Yeah, have you had any experience with billing companies or the number of billing companies that are out there?
Yeah, I've had some in the past. Just some quick, one of the departments I worked in, Weymouth, we were starting to take over the ambulance, and I've kind of talked to some billing companies to get some feels. Yep. I've had some, yeah.
Because that's going to be important to us.
Very, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So have you had a chance or opportunity to review Stewart's list of incidents so that you can get an idea of what happens in the town and
Are you talking like the type of calls they go on and that type of thing?
Yeah, like, could you look at the last 2 years of calls in the town and say, well, okay, now I understand what your requirement or what your needs are?
Yeah, I have not, I mean, working with the chief, I know we've been talking to stewards. I have not actually physically looked and see what the call volume they had. I know the call volume, but not the type of calls they had. So we can have a rough idea what we're doing. Sorry? Sorry. All right.
Deputy,
Paul.
welcome. The chief and one of your colleagues made some big commitments with all of us, and we did too, to the public. And the question, Linda was asking about the billing side, and John's asking about the, what's it look like? I think as you get your feet on the ground, and by the way, here again, folks, here's another person who gave us a 180-day plan. Isn't that novel? Thank you. The real question we're going to ask is, are we on plan? Can we get to where we confidently can operate the service? And that's not a question I'm asking you now, because you got to get soaked in this stuff. But that is the question that will always be in my mind. And my colleague, student body right here, is saying, see, he's getting all the head count he needs, and he's getting, that to me is a part of it. But it's really, are you ready to do it? Are you standing by?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what we want to know. But thank you for being on board. Impressive. Thank you.
So 75% of the state of New Hampshire does what we're going to be doing. And I have the utmost confidence in you and the chief, and I have from the start, and our town manager, who has walked this walk before in Littleton. And I know that the three of you together is going to make this a rousing success. There may be a hiccup here or there, but you guys are going to do a great job, and it's going to come through.
No pressure.
I have no doubt, thank you.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Don't worry about the pressure at all.
You just got the big P.
Just laid it
No
on
pressure.
Okay, any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
I look forward to working with you. Okay, next on our agenda is old business, work plan, select board work session for town manager evaluation, unfinished tasks worksheet. Somebody want to bring us up to speed on this one?
I'll do the work plan piece. Last, or 2 meetings ago, the chairman asked us to put some dates, things, more texture to the work plan. I haven't done that, but I'd like to suggest that maybe we all kind of agree that we're going to do it, and then at our next meeting or a meeting after that, we just go through it. Because we're can kicking this one. We've been booting this one since last December. So, maybe if we all could agree, get some texture to it and just put it on the agenda and do it.
I think some of this is not new, but at least it's written down.
But Brian even said dates. Even though I don't agree with him most of the time, he even said put dates.
Yeah, I think we can hold a work session on how to support community TV. They're going out and trying to run a campaign.
So you want to take it off?
I think so. I think we need to hear from them on what they're going to do. We don't need to.
Okay.
So that's just one I had seen.
Well,
I think we can, in a meeting or two, look at it.
I'm going to put some dates on it.
Yeah, but some of them are in process.
yeah.
And so I think we want completion dates, Yeah.
I
think that's...
Right.
I think we should look at it and deal with it another time, honestly.
I mean, some of
I'm
them
not
get-
ready to deal with all these 10 or 11 things tonight.
No. I just want to put texture on this so that we can say, okay, we have some outcome-centric things we want to accomplish by certain times, like these guys did, and then we can every so often pull it off the dartboard and look at it.
And in that, where we are and what we've already done. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, number 7.
You're going to bring that to us?
Yeah. Number
put
7
dates on it.
is ongoing, and it will be
I'll do it.
ongoing forever. It's emphasized water quality issues with all projects. That's a forever goal.
But it's specifically related
second
to the Wolfeboro Bay a watershed management
second
plan,
sentence.
and we can put some clarity underneath that, because
Right.
we're working
And then
on
it's going to
one.
go to another watershed
How
plan,
does it,
into another.
Paul, is this part of what you,
No, Amy, actually, while I was in, she tossed this one at me, and bless her heart for doing it. Amy has been, after every select board meeting, she does a to-do. Remember when you and I almost got signed up for the to-do list? Remember that? Well,
Yeah.
she said, "Hey, I've been keeping a to-do list here, and here it is." So I'm not sure what the action is here, other than she's tracking on us, which I think is good. And I'll talk to her and see if there's something else she wants us to do about this. But there's good stuff out here.
Yeah, I think there's some things that we've left floating that would be nice to catch up on.
Right, in the Smith River.
I think
Floating
those,
away there.
So I'll try to get a little more, stuff
kick
around
those
these
down
two
the
things.
road
Yeah,
for
I will,
another
yeah.
week?
Yeah, we'll kick that down the road another week.
I'll send you my comments.
Thank you.
okay.
You always do, and I
I know
appreciate
it.
that.
I always-
Work session for town manager evaluation. Now,
Okay.
Brian just gave us this tonight,
Yep. It's to digest.
and I'm not ready to act on it tonight because I haven't even read it. I don't think any of us.
Hang on.
Wait a second, guys. We keep on kicking this down the road. Let me tell you, I gave you some dates we are supposed to get this done by September 30th. I gave you some dates on how to get there. So
Yes.
what we're doing is, if we make, and this is some major changes, if we're going to do that, that means the form will need to be redone.
Well-
If we're all in agreement, we're kicking this down the line further. We could be in October, and then we've got budget
No.
hearings. So I'm a little concerned about that.
Well, I'm going to tell you what my feeling is. This form that we've had last year, we kicked it down the road a few times,
Don't look at me.
readjusted it and readjusted it. And I don't have any problem with using this form at all this year. As Linda said, my feeling is we need to get this done, and we need to get it done now. Brian, I appreciate what you try to do, but I think it's too much.
So
this year.
Linda has asked for years for people to come to her
Yeah.
with any potential changes. Nobody ever has.
Oh, bless your heart.
No,
And
that's not true.
So I decided to pick up the gauntlet, and all I did was take this document that has 45 different metrics to evaluate the town manager, and I condensed them and kept all the same information into it, but turned it into 30 metrics. So I basically sized it down by a third. Now, I don't care if we use it or if we don't use it, or we try and look at it for next year, or whatever we want to do. But I did what was tasked of me, keeping it
Okay.
in the same amount of information, but in a more concise form.
Okay. And I appreciate that, and I think most of us will when we read this. I'm not ready to change it
Yeah, oh, no,
for
that's
this year.
fine.
I
That's
just
fine.
am not. Because I think Linda's worked on this for many years, as has the rest of us. And I thought that last year we had a good document, and it's the same one we're going to use this year, as far as I'm concerned. Linda?
Yes, I first brought the issue up on August 6th, and I had it in the packet for August 20th. And so in the hopes that we could do this and I appreciate you spending the time. It would have helped if it happened on August 20th, that we got this information. I'm with Dave. Let's go with it this year. I think you have some good combinations, but what's going to happen is this whole thing's going to have to be retyped.
Well, it's going to be form-filled, right?
To this. When you try to move it in the format that's in now, it goes haywire. So I'm with Dave. I'd like to leave it the way it is, and then I can go through the timeline you'd like, but see what John and Poland do.
So, John,
Good.
you're good. Mr. Senical,
Yes,
I'm not good. So
you're going to get outvoted.
I know I am, but I figured what the hell, I might as well do it. Much to the chagrin of others, we did have a fairly detailed conversation about the utility of this form a year ago. And this form is, my words, it's out of date. The town manager has a job description. And that's what we pay the town manager to do, is to meet his job description and all the professional accoutrement that go around that. This form is inwardly focused. It says, you know, inform us if there's a problem. Keep us posted. We should inform you too. And so I'm going to say it's okay, and Brian, I didn't get a chance to read your document because it came up tonight, and I'm just not doing it. I'm going to say this is okay, and I'll go along with the gang here. But there's something that I'm going to do, which I hope others will do, and that is we collectively asked the town manager at the beginning of the year, last year, whenever it was, please, Jim, give us your goals and objectives. What do you want to accomplish? What do you think is important for this town? Because I think those are the things that we should appraise performance on. And I intend to appraise our town manager on these things. You know, does he complete the necessary amount of work required for the position? I look at that and I say, that's a little junior-ish, but if we have to do it, I'll do it. But I'm going to ask Jim, and he's provided this to us, I want to appraise him on his goals and his objectives. And because those things face the public, they're outwardly facing. So I'll fill out this document, and I'll also give him an appraisal on his goals and objectives. Thank you very much.
Linda?
Yes, I've always, at the end of this, have given him a detailed evaluation on the goals that the Board of Selectmen put forward for him and his goals. So I think this is a form. I could take this and put it over here, and I could do it just on the goals and objectives. This is something that we've used. I'm more than comfortable to do it, but I really feel I give him the most feedback when I go after his goals and my goal and the Board of Selectmen's goals. So I'm comfortable doing the form, but I think I'm with you, Paul. I think the evaluation on the goals are.
But we have, Linda has, over the last few months, asked us for information. To me, it's too late. Just so you know, that's my feeling. I think that we're going to have to use the form this year. If some of you want to change it, make sure you get it to Linda quickly.
That's right.
Like right after we're done with this one.
I have mine in.
Okay? Anything else on that?
Well, shall I go through would you like me to go through the timeline and see if we can come to the dates? So we are deciding on this form. So if you fill this form out and get it to me by September 3rd, I will put everything together, and I'm hoping that we can meet as a board to go over our individual goals, either on the 10th of September at 2 o'clock or September 11th at 5 o'clock, whichever works best.
10th September at 2 or the?
September 10th at 2 or September 11th at 5.
11th.
I am not going to be around on September 11th.
Will you be the 10th?
I have a personal day.
Are you the 10th?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, is everybody else okay with the 10th of September at 2?
Mr. Town Manager, could you just, Amy's probably watching. Amy, we've got to get this form ready so that we can fill it out electronically. Are you out there?
She told me that she could do it that way.
Okay, Amy, you out there? Okay, good. All right.
Is everybody okay with that? John, are you okay?
I'm sorry about the 11th.
All right,
It's a
so
special day
it doesn't make any difference. We can do it on the 10th at 2, and then September 24th at 2 o'clock.
Yep.
Dates. And did Amy send out to all of you the forms and all the goals?
She sent out the town manager's goals, or did you send them? You sent them.
I sent them, I just wanted, did I send them to everybody?
I got them.
Did you get them?
I'll double check.
You remember, John,
Yeah.
did you get him? The evaluation form and the town manager goals and our goals for the town manager? I think I sent them out to everybody.
I think you sent them to me. Well, I know you sent them to
Do you
me.
want me to resend them?
Do it.
I think I got them when I first came on.
No.
No.
No?
I would have sent it after the last meeting.
Oh, look. I
Hang
got
on, Linda.
Just if you need them, just email me and then I'll send them out.
I got them.
Because you're right, I was the one to send them out.
You did.
Yep. That's it.
Okay. Any other business?
Well, Dave, that was easy.
So what's the 24th at 2? That's the second.
That's when we meet with Jim Pinio to go over our evaluations. And those are all in non-public
Okay, so the 10th is with us,
with us.
and the 24th is with us with him.
Correct. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I have other business. I want to inform the board that the monthly Lakes Region Planning Commission meeting is on September 22nd. It's from 6 to 8, and it's going to be on the topic of legislative updates. And they're going to focus on the newly enacted zoning laws that affect community, and they were all commissioner, land use board members, town staff, municipal administrators are encouraged to attend. I would like to attend, and I didn't know whether there were other ones, members of the board.
September 22nd?
Yep.
I'll go.
And where is that going to be?
You
What
wanna
time?
go? It's going to be at the Tufton Borough Free Library.
Oh, cool.
And Jim, do you want to sign a bunch of us up? Are you willing to do that? I'd like to go. Brian would like to go.
Yeah,
I want to go.
would.
What time?
It's at 6.
Yeah,
8.
okay.
Dave wants to go.
All wants to.
Paul wants to go.
That's a meeting.
Yeah, it has to be noticed, doesn't it?
No, it just needs to say
That we're attending as a board.
John, you want to
Yeah.
give that to Jim so he has this stuff on?
Yep.
That's all I have.
Okay, it's September 22nd. It's a Monday night?
Yes.
Tough to bear.
So Linda, I think you did send that out to everybody because it was a hi all email.
I knew I had sent it to you because you particularly asked, but I thought I'd sent it out.
You got it, John. Brian got it. Linda,
Okay.
Paul, Dave.
Any other business?
Yes. So I have 2. I was approached by Mr. Webster, who is our sunglass hawker and peddler. And he said that, first of all, how late can a hawker and peddler be out on the sidewalk? Is there a time limit to that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's in the ordinance.
There is, I'll have to dig up the code.
I have to dig, I
'Cause-
know there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is.
I
Because
don't know what it is.
Yeah, because he was saying that he wanted to, if the town allowed and alley caps allowed, use alley caps spot at nighttime because he thinks that the crowd at Bailey Bubble would be good for his sunglass kiosk. I said I had to check to see if, one, you could commingle spots, and I said I didn't know if that was possible. And 2, I had to check to make sure that the ordinance didn't end at a certain time. And he said he would be willing to pay an additional fee to his hawkers and peddlers if, so there's a lot of ifs and ifs and ifs.
So why don't you clear up the ifs and then come back to us
I
with
just
a
wanted to
firm
bring
plan.
it, this just happened in the last couple of days, so I wanted to bring it to the board and see if there was ever any consideration, or should we just let things be the way they
He
are?
should send the board a letter asking what he would like.
Yeah.
That's what we need. And then we have something to act on and to look at.
Yeah, I think if it's important for him, have him write it down.
Meantime, we can get the regulations.
Yeah.
And the last one I had is, and I saw this myself this summer. We're talking now a lot about safety in downtown. And driving through downtown, one of the unsafe situations that I saw, probably, in my opinion, one of the highest, was we have a lot more bicycles going through downtown now. The bicycles and e-bikes, and the e-bikes are even more problematic. The bicycles and e-bikes are supposed to follow the rules of the road. They're supposed to stay in line. They're supposed to go with the flow of traffic, supposed to use hand signals and stuff. I saw lots of bicycles and e-bikes in groups this year that were zigzagging in between traffic, going down the middle of the road, going down the right side between traffic and parked cars. And so I brought to the chief, I sent him and he probably already had it, but the e-bike RSA that defines what e-bikes should do. There are 3 different levels of e-bikes, 1, 2, and 3. Level 3 e-bikes, which almost look like little motorcycles, are not to be used by anybody under 16 years old. And I've had multiple people send me pictures of children that are under 16 years old on level 3 bikes going 30 miles an hour through downtown. So the enforcement is going to be the very, very difficult part. If it was a kid on a dirt bike going through downtown, the police department would know exactly what to do. Stop, you can't do that. That's against the rules. But e-bikes are a new thing. If you look it up, they're becoming very, very problematic in a lot of communities throughout the country because they're a new type of transportation mode. So I wanted to see if the chief had any thoughts on this or if he wanted to tell us that it's in his radar or whatnot.
Come on down.
The first comment out of the box is, I got no such pictures sent to the police department.
Oh.
We can't enforce if no one's reporting it.
I ain't got no stinking pictures.
So if you would want to share those with
Okay.
us, we'd be happy to look into it. As Selectman Duché has mentioned, that we have e-bikes and we have bicycles. The enforcement of those is regulated by state RSA. Thank you for the copies. I have my own.
Yep.
I am familiar with the 3 different types or categories of e-bikes according to the 265, 144.
Yep.
And there are other issues in play that unfortunately, the state legislature hasn't caught up to yet. You may be familiar with your own ordinance that only speaks to scooters, and I think they're like roller skis or something.
Yeah.
And it really didn't go any further than that because that was the problem then, and that's why we make laws, is we're dealing with something happening at that moment. As life progresses and technology changes, we have new challenges. We have been dealing with a few e-bike issues in town already. In fact, the police department has an e-bike. Welcome to the new world. I have a bigger issue that I'm in the midst of dealing with now, and that is, for an e-bike to be an e-bike, it has to have pedals. All 3 categories have to have pedals. The power can only get up to, I think it's around 750 watts, which is a horsepower. We're seeing more than that, or we're getting reports of more than that. These are, at least in my view, motor vehicles. So we are familiar, we are aware, and we are dealing with it. Does anybody have any questions specific to that?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Is that it, Brian?
That's all I got.
Okay, town manager's report.
I got one old business. So I'm going to revisit the letter from Pat Waterman regarding the employees again for the town hall parking lot. When they go to lunch, they're coming back and their spots are being taken because of other businesses around the across the street, walking downtown. I'd like to be able to provide them some spots with some signs that give them that right to go downtown to get lunch, go where they need to go for an appointment or some other place, and then they can come back and they still have their spot. I don't think it's too much to ask. Well, we should be doing it. And I'd like Jim to be able to provide us a report on what he's worked up and what he's addressing for the issue.
So I do have that as a town manager report item, number 7 on my report to you. Town hall parking lot, employee parking, looking and discussing options with staff. The interesting thing is, holistically, from the parking lot out back and the area out here on Main Street, I don't see a tremendous problem. But I am looking at a couple of different options in conjunction with Amy to see if there's something that we can do during peak summer time to alleviate the parking problem in the back parking lot.
Jim, one comment on that. When we are using the hall up here at time for the senior meals, and they just put cones, I wonder if there's some better kind of signage, because we do try to block off some parking for them. So as you're looking at it, would you give some thought to that too?
Okay.
Thank you.
So would you be open to some recommendations if we were to go out and view the parking lot to say maybe these would be good spots so that we could come to you like Brian did with his paper and say, would you consider these areas over here? And we just need to know how many employees that the town hall is.
Sure, I mean, if you want to schedule that time with me, that's fine, you can schedule that. I thought I got directive last week from you to work on this. I'm working on it, but if you want to meet to give me your thoughts and ideas, I'd be happy to meet.
Okay, thank you.
If we could find more parking spots downtown, there might not be clogged up parking in the town hall.
Are you
Maybe.
done? Are you all done?
Just a thought.
Yeah, I thought you were done, you said.
Are you done yet?
All right, Jim, you want to?
Couple of items. The audit, it's not going to be most likely until September 17th now. Between vacations, the single audit that needed to be performed for grant funding that was received, the final reconciliation of that, and the peer review is pushing the audit back. So right now, we're looking at September 17th for delivery of the audit. Reevaluation is substantially done and timely. Field reviews are completed. Reconciliation and adjusting of values from the data entry, ensuring that everything is accurate, is in process. We're hopeful that notices will be going out this week regarding the reevaluation. And right now, they are looking to schedule hearings the week of either September 8th or September 15th, and being able to hold them telephonically or virtually. With that said, we're also going to be posting on the webpage as those get mailed. New Hampshire Municipal Association produced a reevaluation document and what it means to you back in 2023, I believe it was. It's an excellent document, and we're going to be posting that to the webpage. Town hall parking lot out front here, Monday, August 25th. They're going to be replacing the utility pole at the intersection of South Main and Union Street in front of the town hall. So the parking lot here will be closed, and they'll be taking parking spaces out on South Main. The goal is to keep the Union Street intersection open so it won't be closed. But if you could avoid that intersection, it'd be very helpful to the linemen who are working to replace that utility pole. Just a reminder, the office will be closed September 1st for Labor Day. CIP is underway. We had our first meeting with 3 departments on Monday. At that meeting, we reviewed documents and had some questions asked, answered. And the full CIP is on the town CIP webpage if anybody wants to see it. It's about a 158-page document. Budget committee. Monday night we had a budget committee meeting. Budget committee is in the process of having rules and procedures adopted. There was also an advisory motion made at that meeting, and I'll read the motion to you. An advisory motion to the select board from the Budget Committee that the Select Board continue to find the appropriate funds to continue with the operations of Wolfeboro Community Television. That passed by a margin 801. So I'm not sure at this point what we really can do. I will be meeting with a couple members of Wolfeboro Community TV next week to discuss their upcoming budget. But I pass that along to you, and if Brian has more information, he can provide it to you in his report. Town Hall parking, as I alluded to, we're working on that. And the last item, I just want to remind board members that we have noticing requirements when a meeting, which means the convening of a quorum of a public body, whether in person or by means of telephone or electronic communication, such that all participating members are able to communicate with each other contemporaneously for the purpose of discussing or acting upon a matter over which a public body has supervision, control, or jurisdiction or power over. So if you believe that you're going to be attending a meeting where 3 people are going to be present, I need to have 24 hours notice so that we can advise the public that a potential of 3 or more board members may be present. That's all I have for you in my report.
Okay, committee reports. Brian?
Yep, I had a capital improvement committee meeting with Linda, and it's just the beginning of the whole process, and Linda will update you more on what's going on.
Yep.
I'm just the alternate. And then we had meeting with the EDC and had some great discussions about Lake Winnipesaukee Day and about communication throughout the town, upcoming events. They were working on, they created a subcommittee for their budget to create their budget for next year, because things are getting difficult when you go to plan a budget and you're working on 2023 numbers. And that's about all.
Mr. Chairman, I attended the planning board last night. There was a conclusion reached on Brewster Academy's access and use of Green Street. There were members of the public who spoke from the Clark Road side of things, wisely apprising the planning board to think carefully about whether they should use Clark Road or not. But Green Street, the Green Street application was approved. Mr. Tuffer is back in town. Be on alert. He was there. I also attended the police commission meeting last week. Briefly, it was great to hear what's going on. The captain briefed folks on what's been taking place in the summer. Unfortunately, arrests and things of that nature are part of police business, but it kept us up to date. That report is available if anybody wants to look at it. It's on their website and on the town website. And I apologize, but I missed the budget committee last evening. It was Monday evening. But I'm the alternate there, and I know Brian did a great job. Thank you.
Yeah, Wolfeboro Waters met with the Public Works Department on turning Beach Pond Road and Trash Mountain Road dirt section to pavement. Wolfeboro Waters will be sending the Select Board a letter expressing their support for water quality by doing this change. The Wolfeboro Waters has 2 engineers on it. So we've kind of formed a subcommittee to take a look at the public safety building. It'll be the 2 engineers, John Thurston and Jim. They'll meet to understand the drainage system that was designed, what drainage system was given to the contractor, and review the as-built. Is there anything that could be added to upgrade the drainage system, and what role should Wolfeboro Waters play in future town projects? We also had looked at the library parking lot and stormwater system redesign. And again, we formed a subcommittee, and we have our two engineers, John, Jim, Allison, our librarian, and myself will meet to talk with Horsley Witten Group engineer who redesigned the parking lot and stormwater system to answer questions that the Wolfeboro Waters Committee had. Over the last few weeks, we have had cyanobacteria outbreaks in Lake Wentworth, Crescent Lake. I swam today and it all seemed to be gone. Rust Pond has had a cyanobacteria outbreak. What is interesting is there has been very little notice of cyanobacteria in Wolfeboro Bay. Wolfeboro Waters has members who will, if somebody has given us a sample, take that sample to DES to get it checked out. They have not been called by anybody. But remember, you should check DES Healthy Swimming Mapper if you have any questions, and always look before you leap. If the water doesn't look clear or right, don't go in. The Capital Improvement Plan Committee, which we call CIP, reviews all town projects over 100,000 and place those projects out over 10 years to try to keep the tax rate from spiking. Brian and I have had two meetings. First was the overview. The second one, the committee reviewed the Park and Recreation Community Center for funds for engineering, the library parking lot, stormwater system redesign, and the fire department gave us their 10-year plan, their equipment over 10 years, and their proposed new ambulance. The library, again, this month, and this is the increase over July of 2024, their new patron cards are up 94%. The other area is adult programs. The number of adult programs that they've put on has increased 22%, and the attendees is up 51%. So we have people using our library, and it seems to be a very active place. I attended a meeting for Community TV. It is continuing to fundraise $75,000 this year to replace the outdated service and other expenses. I attended the Friends of Pop Whalen golf tournament and helped with registration. I attended the Chamber's monthly board meeting. I attended the EDC with Brian, and he has reported on that. And I attended Winnipesaukee Day, and I covered the parking lot from around 12 to 3:30. The event was a success. It was well attended, and I want to thank Brian for all his hard work. It went over very well, and that's all I have.
Okay. Let's thank Brian as well for all his work along with the EDC on that. But I didn't have any meetings other than the one Winnipesaukee Day. John?
So I attended the planning board meeting last night also to act on the Brewster Academy parking lot reconfiguration. I did attend the CIP meeting as a citizen in that forum. I did attend the Waters Committee meeting. I also met with some others from New Garden Road to discuss the sign that has been put up on that road. It was showed to me that what the length of the Class 5 part is, where the Class 6 starts, and where the Class 6 sign that says road not maintained beyond this point, and that Class 6 sign is well short, and the others group would like that sign to be moved to where the end of the point is, where the town has the pile of gravel and they don't maintain it anymore. They said it just doesn't make any sense where the sign is currently right now, and they asked me to bring this up so that that could be addressed. I also went down to Kerry Beach. Previously, I had talked to a couple from Sewell Road that was doing some cleanup down there. I told them I was going to go to Kerry Beach during the season to look at the debris that was on the edge of the beach and the water. And I spoke at this meeting about a possible cleaning subcontractor that has a motorized vessel that comes in and that cleans that first 3 feet where all that heavy debris is, because what I saw there was beach attendants had a tine rake that they were using, but when it got down to the water, there was still heavy leaves, some dead fish, and so that was kind of residual that I thought we probably ought to start thinking about how we can put that into our plan to get that cleaned up on a subcontracting basis. That's it.
Okay, any questions from the press? Jim, are they on?
They are not.
Okay. Public input again. Anybody want to talk to us?
Bobby Budman. I just want to go back through a few things. One, when you were talking about the trees, we voted on our warrant article last year. It was Article 29, that 20% of the funds are for replanting per year. So the word per year was in there. So I don't know if that is something that affects your vote you took this evening or not. I just had a question about peer review when you were talking about peer review. Wouldn't peer review be the fact that we have a planning board that we elected? Aren't those our citizen peers that are reviewing? No. It's public input. You don't have to, but if you want to, I just didn't understand.
Peer review in the building permit process is getting an architect or a professional to review the plans as a peer. It's not about the board process per se. And some of the legislation is toward the building permit process. So somebody can bring in a set of plans, have a peer review consultant review them, and do what the building inspector would normally do. It's a good process, but in 14 days, it's a lot to take into account. So we want to make sure that the peer review, which is the applicant hiring a consultant to review their plans, has a definition to it. No.
That was my question. Don't shake your head, Paul. It's an honest question. Brian, I sent you a picture of the tree on the bike on the path today. Did that get handled out of curiosity?
Well, I forwarded it to the town manager, but he said that he couldn't open up the photograph, so I have to send it to him in a different manner so that he can see
just because the way it's leaning on other trees that aren't very large, and it could come down. I mean,
you said it was at the Center Street Bridge?
Well, it's after Foss, but before the wooden bridge. So, and it's leaning over the path. I can show you a picture after. I'm just a little concerned.
I will send staff out to look at it tomorrow.
Okay. It just seems a little dangerous. Then on, I do have a comment, and I will declare I am not speaking in any way for the budget committee whatsoever. I am, however, speaking as an elected member of the budget committee and someone who voted on this. I'm a little concerned that the member of the budget committee, due to the new rules and procedures, will not be able to make a proper vote based on new material that may come to the budget committee. So I'm hoping that, I know you don't want to have an illegal quorum, and maybe I can just send the language, but the language within the policies and the procedures say that the budget committee member has to vote based on how you felt it was in the best interest of the town. And before we adopt those policies and procedures, I feel as though maybe the select board should reach out to the budget committee to have that sentence struck from our new policies and procedures. Or when new information is gained, I feel like whoever is the representative from the select board, you will not be able to have a real honest vote on the budget committee. Let's see, what else? This is for my fellow citizens in Wolfeboro. I highly encourage you to attend our budget committee meeting on September 15th and give your public input before you lose it. The policies and procedures that were put in place will be giving the chair the right to cut and end all public input if that chair does not agree with what's being said. So please, to my fellow citizens of Wolfeboro, show up. Our public input and our voice is so important, and the budget committee needs to hear before we put that in place that we should not be having a chair cut the voice off if the chair disagrees with what's being said. Jim, just because you brought it up, I was going to do it in a private email. I did vote. I do believe that the community television needs to be supported. However, I also fully believe we have to look at what part of the community television we're supporting. There are church programs and other programs that I am not sure the citizens of Wolfeboro would all agree that our tax dollars should be going for. They air programs that I know I disagree with. I attended a service at a church, and they had praised, I don't want to say the N-word in here because far right-wing Christian nationalists from like 1930s Germany were praised as good things. So I don't necessarily think that we should be using our tax dollars to support every aspect of community television and what is aired. But I do think we need to fund the fact that they're airing this right now, and that's important for our citizens. I'm going to put one in a private message about goals and objectives. Based on my experience after a meeting one evening, I just wanted to reiterate that I don't think a goal or objective was fully achieved by an employee in this town, and I hope it is taken into effect when you do a review. On 9/22, the legislative update meeting, are budget committee members allowed to go to that? The 9/22 meeting in Tufton
You can, it says, if you want to, yeah.
It's open to,
It says from the, he has the slip, it says it came, but it does say for, it should be a public meeting.
Yeah, I would think so.
I would think it was a public meeting. I don't see any reason.
All
Do I have to
commissioners, land use board members, town staff, and municipal administrators are encouraged to attend.
You're in.
okay, I'd like to attend, please.
The information is on the flyer.
Okay, and then I just, going into budget season, because I think everyone up there, and I know I do, we need to pass our budget this year. And I think it's very important we start out of the gate early and we start talking to our citizens, because we are going to have some lofty increases based on tariffs that I know are going to hit our town with things that we need to purchase and buy. I know it's going to harm the library due to all the paper products that are attached with the library coming from our neighbors up north, those tariffs. So I don't know if, when we're discussing that and with the select board, when you end up coming to the budget committee or sending it, if we can maybe parse out some of those additional fees, because they are lofty for us. And I think our community members deserve the right to know what those increases are, just so we don't end up in a default budget based on what's happening in society right now. Okay, that's it. Thanks.
All right, somebody want to make a motion, go into non-public, please?
Hold on, I have one more thing. I'm sorry, I have to say it. I have to say it will be quick. According to New Hampshire Lakes, if you live along a lake or a pond, do not rake the lake. Aquatic plants in the lake
Yes.
are natural and provide food,
already know.
habitat, and protection for wildlife. Rocks, vegetation also prevent wave action from stirring the bottom. When rocks and vegetation on the lake bottom are raked, the nutrient phosphorus can be released from the disturbed sediments. While phosphorus is found naturally in our lakes, too much can cause excessive plant, algae, and cyanobacteria growth. So this is going to be something that we're going to have to think about going forward as a policy.
We've already addressed that. That was already given to the Parks and Rec long ago. This area is not in the lake. The people that were doing the stuff were raking in the lake, and we had to send them that part that you just read off. That was already sent 3 months ago to them. So I actually have two more things. I was hoping that Jim would be able to give us a Libby report on the collection and what the status is going forward there. And one other critical item, I overlooked the last meeting there. Wolfeboro lost one of its founding fathers on July 25th. I want to mention that we lost Chip Maxfield. He was a long-standing member of our community, and I wanted everybody to know that our hearts and prayers are with that family. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion to go into non-public. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? We're in non-public.